And we're live. Everybody should be able to hear me all right. There's a weird stuff going on here today. Like something happened to the feed. I don't know what. Anyway, let's go ahead and start with saying hello to everybody. Let's see. The first one in, believe it or not, was Gerald Stewart. Gerald, you get the big fat cookie. It's good to see you here tonight. Then it's Hot Dog Pilot Andy. Andy, you get the half cookie. So good to see you here too. Now, to my knowledge, you guys were the only ones that were in the feed before it went wonky on me, so I don't know what happened. It's just weird. High Plains Drifter, how you doing? Good to see you here. And there's a face I haven't seen in a while. Well, whatever. Frank Steeler, Fan 820, how you doing? Good to see you here. Been a long time. And we have Schuylkill River Valley. John, how's it going? Good to see you here. And who else do we have? Okay, that's it, everybody. So, starting off a little short, but that's okay. Drifter says, I'm taking the time using a black paint pen and painting my outside railroad rails. Wow, that sounds like a tedious job. But hey, you know, whatever works for you. So, let's see. So, I actually do have a rant for a little later. I spent the whole day trying to think what the hell I could rant about, but I mean, there's really so many things, but you know, a lot of them aren't appropriate for this venue. That's weird. As I was saying, something happened there. I don't know what. You know, I didn't restart anything. You know, I didn't go live, of course, until 5:45. But I think I jumped in there. I set up things right. Yeah, I was about 11:22. And like I said, to my knowledge, nobody else was on. I didn't see anything in the chat because I see the chat on the laptop, you know. And I just don't know what the hell happened. It was very strange. It's just like boom. As I had to refresh the laptop because the video locked up, all four cameras. I don't know why. So I refreshed it, it's fine, but then my chat screen was blank. I don't know what the hell happened. Had to be something on their end, you know. YouTube did it. They're just getting a little weird there, you know. Drifter says, watching the news about two ladies that were recently murdered over custody of kids. Holy shit. Tell you, the whole world's going nuts, isn't it? And Andy goes, as long as my trains are running, I'm good. Yeah, same here. And they are actually running. Matter of fact, let's switch over to a different view there so you can see the trains better. So, I don't know. It's computers, you know, the computers themselves are getting very strange. I'm wondering if, Microsoft isn't messing with Windows 10 users. I'm still using Windows 10. I'd like to stay with 10. I don't really like 11. I did try it briefly. I usually do experimental stuff on the laptop. And it was slow, very large file. I said, you know what? We'll just stick with 10. Is that a wigwag, Jim? I guess it could have been. His grandmother admitted to be the lead in a group of four that killed him. Holy Christ, man. I'll tell you what. People are going nuts out there. What was it, a few weeks ago? Some 12-year-old kid stabbed his mom 42 times. Hey, she lived, lucky for her, but what the hell is wrong with these people, you know? Yeah, there's just something not right going on there. On the layout lights. Okay. No, I got in a wigwag on the lights. Not yet, anyway. Did this happen in a county of maybe 3,000? Well, yeah, it really doesn't matter. There's no population limit or minimum or maximum on craziness. It just happens everywhere. You just never know what's going to happen. So, I guess I was going down the floor on my subway here. It started peeling up. I guess the weather got to it. And I had some weights to hold it down till the glue dried. Seems to be good now. A little bit of maintenance to do here and there. So, honestly, I didn't really do a damn thing this past weekend. I mean, not really. Anyway, I did a little bit, but nothing of any great consequence. I've really been slacking. I've been busy doing other things, I set up, if you can see it right there. That's my green screen. I got it permanently mounted now properly. That's nice and straight. And out of the way for when I'm not using it, so that's coming really handy. But I tell you, I like to kill myself putting that thing up there. I had my wife and my mother-in-law, the three of us. We had to screw the 2x4 up there, into the beams, the ceiling rafters, roof rafters, and then we had to put the hooks in and then hang the green screen on top of that. It was a nightmare. I thought I was going to die for sure. Girl says, I was hoping that Windows 12 would come out before Win 10 died. Yeah, that's true. That's what I said. I know they're working on 12, but I don't know. I just wish they'd leave shit alone. 10 works fine. I've got no problems with it. Why not just leave it the hell alone and, go from there? Thomas Grassy. Hey, Tom, how's it doing? How's it going? Good to see you tonight. So, I don't know. It's, just the way they do things. Now, I guess they're, is it July maybe? June or July, I'm not sure which. I think of this year, maybe next year, I don't remember. They're going to stop supporting Windows 10. However, if you want to, I guess it's time for a haircut again too. If you want to continue getting support for it, you can pay a monthly fee and they'll keep supporting 10. Now, is that a crock of shit or what, right? So they're really pushing 11 really hard. And that bothers me too. Sometimes when they insist on you getting something, there's probably going to be something wrong with it. It's probably a big bundle of spyware anyway. I don't trust these fuckers. Not for 1 second. Like I said, I like 10. I just soon keep it. I'm not real fond of Linux. My old tenant back in Naples, she had her laptop. She had Linux on that, and she wanted to add some software, didn't know how. So I kind of did it for her. I had to learn how myself. It's not even remotely close to Windows. At the time, it was unhackable. Nobody hacked Linux. Now, of course, Linux is getting hacked just as much as Microsoft and everybody else. Scripture says, on doing a second level on a layout, is it more successful to do a corkscrew to gain the elevation, or is build a second level above the first track? Well, you're talking about a helix, I'm assuming. I've not been a big fan of helixes, but I'm going to wind up putting one in here. Because right there on the second level, it goes around on a slope, 2-degree incremented slope. And I don't like that. It's a big waste of real estate. So I'm going to be putting an addition onto the shed, an expansion. I'm going to build another room on the other side of this wall. And I'm going to put a a 2-level helix in there. Punch a hole through the wall. You won't see the helix. You know, it'll be in the other room. And this way I can raise the second level here. I want to raise it about another 6 inches, maybe a little more, because it's too close to the bottom level. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, you can run two separate track systems. It's all what you feel like doing. I mean, it's as that saying goes, it's your layout. Do whatever the hell you want with it. So, but unless you have a lot of real estate to do a slope, because you really don't want to go more than 2 degrees incline, you'll have to go with a helix or just have 2 separate levels, and they're independent of each other. Technology that we spring it in our eyes. Well, yeah, they probably already are, Andy. Yeah, that's what he was talking about, Linux. It's just, not everybody knows how to spell it. Wasn't that to do with Charlie Brown? I don't know about that. So, well, anyway, those are your 3 choices, really. Like I said, I had the real estate because my incline starts right here at the corner, goes all the way down the wall for about, I think, 23 foot, 24 foot. Goes around to the back wall, which is still inclining, and then finally levels out on the third wall where it's flat here. But in order to maintain the 2-degree incline, I had to make the second level way lower than I originally intended. So I want to raise it back up again. And, well, not again. I want to raise it back up. And this way I have more room, because you really can't hardly see the bottom level, because it's so, I mean, it's only about, I think it's 9 inches from the top to the bottom. That's not much. So I'm going to go with a helix anyway. I'm not real fond of the idea. And I'll probably just buy a ready-made one, because I don't want to screw around with building one. And I know they're not cheap either, but that's what we'll have to do. Oh yeah, Linus. Okay, now I get it. I really didn't understand it. Linux, Linus. Hey, what's the difference, right? Hey, Russ is rockin' O and HO trades and stuff. What's the stuff? Railroad, how you doing, Russ? Good to see you here. That's a long title, man. So, anybody else got any other questions? Because we could, eat up a lot of time here just by me answering questions, because I don't really have that much to show. I mean, I got a quick video I'm going to show you what I've done in my farm scene. Just a couple of little additions to it, nothing big. But it looked pretty good. Now, Tom says his levels are 13 inches between each other. That's pretty good. It's a little over a foot. That's what I'm thinking I'd like too. 12, 13 inches. It would be unrealistic for me to go any higher than that. I mean, I might consider 15 inches. I don't know. It's 15 inches. I happen to have my trusty tape measure here. Let's see, 15 inches. Okay, that's 15 inches right there. You see the numbers. That's pretty tall. Yeah, that's maybe too tall. You said you got 13. That's 13 there. That's not bad. I could do 13. Like I said, I'm running about 9. It's not much. So, hey, Kyle Stevens, how you doing, Kyle? Good to see you here. 15 and 8. Okay, that's cool. Guys, hit the like if you would. I sure would appreciate that. And Joe Rader, Black Rock Central Railroad. Hey, Joe, how's it going? Good to see you. Tom says, I made it so my head would be able to fit there so I can see things up. That makes sense. Yeah, see, my fat head really won't fit under there. Plus the fact that I've got my overhead railway, the above ground, the elevated railway, that also creates a problem over there because they're almost, well, the railroad's about maybe 4 inches below the second level. So it's just a total cluster, you know what. So I'm going to have to fix that whole thing. Russ says, I'm still tweaking the channel name. Okay. Well, I mean, hey, whatever you do, that's cool, So, whatever works for you. But just remember, it's harder to find somebody when their channel name is this long. Well, that's good to hear, Kyle. I'm glad you're doing all right. I'm doing all right. Can't complain. I'm not getting any younger, but still kicking, just with only one leg instead of two. Yeah. Russ says, I have a rotund also. I guess that's just one of the things we all got to deal with, huh? So I'm saying my head wouldn't fit in there. I mean, I can barely fit my hand in there. That's how close it is between the elevated rail and the second level as far as underneath of it goes. Now above, I'm not too short. I can still raise the second. See, the whole thing is, I don't want to raise it to the point where I can't see above it. So right now it's about like here on me, right above here. So if I go up another 3 or 4 inches, it won't make a difference. I'll still be able to see everything up there. For me, that's the big thing. Now, like I said, I'm not that tall, unfortunately. So I have to take all that in consideration too. Scripture says my total layout area is 16 foot long by 6 foot across. That's bad. Pretty good size room. I've got room to walk around the track, and this fits my needs. That's all that matters. And that's a pretty good size room to deal with. So, but yeah, you'll probably wind up having to do a helix, maybe. I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't know what your layout's going to look like, or how you're going to do it. Like I said, originally I was expecting to have a bigger room, a bigger shed, and that didn't pan out, so I got to real quick redo my track plan. And I was really behind. I was, what was I, like 5 months behind my plan? So I got in kind of a hurry, and I just kind of slammed together a track plan, and it's all right, this will work. And, I didn't put as much planning into it as I probably should have, but, I don't like waiting too long for things because I want to go when, strike when the iron's hot, that old saying. So, after 5 months, the iron starts cooling down. If I didn't get cracking, I wouldn't at all. So, Andy says in the UK, the houses are built for end scale only. Are your houses that small over there? I guess they are to some degree. Unless you live out in the country and you're a billionaire, right? Well, I mean, that's all right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with end scale. Unless you're, half blind like me and got fat fingers. Then end scale just isn't going to work. The pictures of my layout is in my garage where my pickup should park, but we'll never see the inside anytime soon. And that's all right, Whatever works for you. I actually kicked around. If I couldn't have got this shed, I probably would have done the same thing, because I have a 2-car garage. I keep my car in it and other assorted things, but, I probably would have, if I couldn't get something like what I've got, I probably would have put the layout in the garage and maybe built a carport in front of it to park my car, because I don't like having my car out in the open. But, like I said, it is what it is. And he says, getting an older house is the key. New places are like rabbit hutches. Yeah, you know, they're doing that here to a point too, you know. They're really pushing it and a tiny home thing, you know, like things that are like half the size of the shed. I mean, what the hell? How are you supposed to live in that, you know? I think they're really trying to push people into, you know, well, you know, was it Japan? I think they got they call them coffins, but they're cubicles and they're just big enough to like slide a body into, you know, and they don't have like anything in them. I mean, except maybe a small TV or something, or maybe use your tablet. You can use the bathroom, you got to come out and I'm sure they have a community bathroom, shower stalls, all that sort of thing. I mean, you know, I can't see Americans living like that, but apparently some of the Japanese are okay with it. I don't know how or why. Like hobbit halls, yeah, there you go. Yeah, even the hobbits had some room. You know, I mean, a hobbit hole is actually bigger than most of these tiny homes, at least from what I've seen in the movies. I don't know. That's kind of weird, you know. Hey, man, what next, right? Yeah, he said it is what it is. It's a bit minimalist. Minimalist, yes, it is. I like bigger. You know, my wife's always yelling at me. She says, you know, why'd you buy such a big house? Because this house is technically bigger than the old house, even though the part we were living in was only 900 square foot. Because I split the house in half, sort of. I rented out the back half, which was actually bigger than the front. The back was 1,100 square foot, but it was only one bedroom, one bath, with a massive living room and a little kitchen. Where the front half, 900 foot, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, tiny kitchen, tiny living room. Because back in the 60s, after they built those houses, we added on to it. But altogether, the house was 2,036 square foot. This house is 3,500 square foot. So, but I like bigger houses. I like having room to move around, you know. I'm not one of them people that throw all kinds of crap in a room, you know, where I like having empty spaces on the wall. You know, my wife's kind of the opposite. She sees an empty space on the wall, she got to fill it with something. So, you know, we're just a little bit different in that respect. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Russ. Tiny homes are not for model railroading. Unless you got a Z-scale or something. But some of these houses are so small, you couldn't even do a Z-scale layout, you know? Ridiculous. Kyle says, I'm building my layout very slowly, mind you, in my 2-car garage. Most of the folk in my neighborhood use the garage as a man cave, right? Yeah, that's true. Well, that's what this one was here in this house. When I bought the house, they had it sectioned off. They had built the man cave in the garage, and there was only like 3 foot by the length of the by the width of the garage was for storage. So I said, well, we ripped the wall out, and I had to buy a new garage because they removed everything. The garage door opener was gone. Thank God the track was still there for the garage door. But I tore the wall out, you know, got a new garage door opener, got it all cleaned up and stuff, and because I wanted to park my car in the damn thing, you know. My house back in Naples didn't have a garage. And I rented a place before I moved there that had a 2-car garage, and so I got spoiled. I want a garage. But hey, you know, it's a good place for a layout, though. I mean, even Tom from Tom's Stranger Things, he's got a 1-car garage, and that's where he's got his layout in. It's coming out real good, too. Gerald says those tube hotels are mostly... Oh, are they? Okay, I wasn't sure. I said I've seen them, videos of them, but they never really clarified where they were. It was just like, oh, see, this is what the Japanese are doing. They're saving space. I'm going, they're lunatics if they're living in, you know, coffins, basically. Yeah, Andy, nature abhors a vacuum. I don't, though. I like having empty spaces. As I said, it's sitting so crowded in here, you know. I mean, take a look around. It's just, let's see, here's behind me. Everything is filled up. I mean, I've got printers around me, the sink, paint booths over there. You can't really see. Well, here. There's a paint booth. Yeah, I mean, there's really not a lot of room. It's very tight in here. And it sucks. You know, and still most of the shed, of course, is my layout, which I have no problem with that. That's why I want to build an extension and move all these printers into the other room and open up some area here. Like I could put a small bench here aside from the doorway that'll be there. And it'll be a little workbench area. I mean, I can work here to a point, but there's some things I'd like to not have on my desk. So I'll have a little work area there to work on. So it all works out in the end. Hey, there's Tammy and Ray. How's it going, Tammy? Good to see you. Costa, I haven't seen Tom's layout in a while, but staying away from social media. Well, you know, Tom, for your mental health. Well, Tom quit doing Mondays. Now he's just doing Workbench Wednesday. He's had some medical issues come up. You know, he's had some heart issues, so I think he's scaling back a little bit, which is a good thing. You know, I only do this once a week, and I don't plan on ever doing more than once a week. Because when I'm not doing this, I'm making videos that are hour-long videos for my Wise Guy series that I air on Rumble and BitChute. And that takes up about 3 hours a day. And I'm pretty much doing them every day but Thursday. And I'm probably going to start slacking back on that a little bit too. It's a lot of work, you know. So I understand that. Yes, it can. It will consume you. And sometimes, too, you just got to stand back and go, you know, I need to take a break, you know, and do my own thing or whatever. I mean, I think I'm going to start getting to that point myself. You know, I'm not spending enough time on my layout, you know, as much as I should and want to. So that's something I'm going to have to really start thinking about pretty soon. You know, 'cause like I said, I'm putting so much effort into my Wise Guy videos. Of course, there's so much shit going on in the world right now that there's no lack of topics to pick up, you know. But, yeah, that's just the way it goes. That's why I couldn't. Yeah, no, he's not on my. When was it? Was 2 Mondays ago was his last Monday. So he didn't do this Monday, and he won't be doing any more Mondays afterwards. So he'd have to go back 2 weeks. But he did do his Wednesday show this week. He didn't do it last week because he was in the hospital. He had some chest pains that he had to deal with, and I guess he's okay now, sort of. So, you know, pray for him if you would. He needs to slow down too. I called him up when he got home from the hospital. He says, you know, he's way older than I am. He's in his 70s, you know, I'm only 64. And he says, you know, damn it, you ain't getting no younger. If you don't slow your ass down, you're going to wind up putting yourself in, you know, in a pine box. It's not where you want to be. Yeah. But he's one of them guys that he just doesn't slow down. I think he'll probably run himself in the ground, if, you know, if he doesn't do something soon. Yeah, Terry said we just keep going. Well, yeah, you guys have been busy too, but that's okay though because, well, you know, Ray is young. I don't think you're that old either, really. So, I mean, if you have the energy and the drive to do it, then absolutely. But you're probably in very, very good health. You know, guys like Tom or me or some of the other guys here, not so much. So we have to start thinking about, you know, not pushing ourselves too hard. Yeah, well, I hear that too. That's another issue. I think that's for all of us. Bidenomics. They should strike that word from the English language too. Everything is so expensive, you know, and it's getting tougher and tougher. I actually went out and I bought enough wood to do one wall, the framing for the new expansion. I spent $40 on 8 pieces of 2x4, 8-foot 2x4s. It turned out they were $373 each. So I figured I'd do one wall at a time. So I didn't have a lot of money left over this month. So I bought enough that I'm going to assemble the one wall maybe later in the month. Then next month I'm going to buy enough wood to do the 16-foot part of the wall. And then the month after I'll do the 6-foot 4-inch part of the wall. And then I'll start working on the roof. Once the roof is done, I'll do the floor, then the outside walls and the inside. So I'm thinking it may take me 4 or 5 months. Hell, it might even be longer than that. I don't know, But I'm not in a hurry because I just don't have the physical ability anymore to, something that I could have probably done in 2 days. Now going to take me, 5 or 6 months. It's the way it is, Now, thank you, Andy. 16.9. We're getting there. Come on, guys. To do with that button, right? Smash it, kick it, shoot it, karate chop it, piss on it, whatever you want to do with it. Just make sure it gets hit. But yeah, it's just like I said, it's been rough because, well, I said money's tight for one. Lumber has come down in price, but not that much. I was surprised at the siding. The T111 siding is actually as cheap as it is. I think I think it's almost an exact match to what's on here now on the outside. It's $26.50 a 4x8 sheet, which is damn cheap because I need a piece for the house that I've got to repair where I had a water line repaired outside. I have to buy a whole sheet, and it's $50 because it's the wider slats, Tammy says, I'm 55 and had a heart stent, have degenerative disc disease, have had neck surgery and a diabetic and neuropathy in my legs and foot. Well, shit, you're almost as bad as me. I thought I had it bad. I said I'm 64. I said I had a stroke at 47. And then I think at 51 I had my first heart attack. I got a stent for that. And I've got 4 stents now. And I'm diabetic after the stroke. I've got neuropathy in my feet. Not in my hands yet, thank God, knock wood. My legs are still okay, sort of, but my feet, they're getting hit pretty hard, especially that damn nerve pain. So, yeah, I know where you're coming from. And yes, it will get harder, unfortunately. The older I get, seems like the worse I get, But the alternative, really sucks, so I'll stay on this path. Thank you. Kyle says I bought 6 pieces of 2x4 by 96. That's 8 foot, right? Or is that 10 foot? Oh, 10 foot. Of lumber for legs on my layout. Got me 2 sections. Figure that once every 2 months. Paid $40 plus for those 6 pieces. Yeah, like I said, it's not cheap. It's just the way it is, 96 inches. Is that 8 foot or 10 foot? I don't remember. It doesn't matter, like I said, but it just gets worse and worse. Dundas Junction Model Railroad, Mr. James. How you doing? Good to see you here, sir. Hope you're doing okay. So, yeah, I mean, I know that's limiting everybody, because unless you're wealthy, which I'm certainly not, we're just going to have to keep chugging along, whatever it takes to get our layouts done. All right, I wasn't sure, Tom. I thought it was 8 foot. Yeah, because 84 is 7 foot. Because my green screen is 84 inches wide. And it's not quite as long as the 2x4 is. Yeah, I got to think about that stuff these days because, just don't remember. Thanks for that anyway. Now we know. So, it's just it. Just getting worse and worse, I guess, all the ways around. Yeah. Not bad enough your health is failing, and prices are through the roof. You can't afford to buy anything. Yeah. Food is outrageous. I went shopping the other day just for a few things that I needed and walked out the door $70 poor. I couldn't hell, I didn't even get anything for that. You know? Not good at all, but it's pretty much the way things are going these days. So anyway, here's a quick, the 27-second video I shot of the farm scene, so let's check it out. Okay, here we go, back on the farm. I've added 2 water troughs in there. You can see they're brownish. Got some bales of hay on the ground, some bales of hay in the hay trailer. I've added the fertilizer trailer. And look, they even got a dog. It looks like he's taking a dump over there. Anyway, still got more to do here, but it's coming along. So stay tuned for future additions to it. I told you it was quick. Yeah, I've heard the same thing, Tammy. It's not good. That's I'm spending $378 average every month in food just for me. My wife's spending about a little bit less than that. She eats a little differently than I do. So, you know. Animals need water. Well, that's what they're supposed to. I don't know if they're feed troughs or water troughs. I have to guess I make 2 more, though. One has to be for water. One has to be for feed, I guess. Right? Hey, do I look like a farmer to you? I'll figure it out, though, eventually. Oh, thank you, Tammy. I appreciate it. Like I said, I got to get some figures out there. I've got plenty of people, but they're all from China, you know. And I'm going to have to repaint them to make them kind of look like a farmer or something. And as soon as I get that done, I'll put them there on the farm, you know, a couple of farm hands and, you know, Farmer Bob and his wife. He even got a couple of kids here. So we'll get them out there eventually. It's slow going, but I ultimately will get it done, you know. It just seems to take forever. It is what it is, you know. So, anyway, guys ready for a rant? Let's do the rant. Where's the rant thing here? Here we go. Is it time for a rant? It is time for a rant. And what's the rant about today? Well, it's kind of, well, it's not Comcast anyway. So far, they're actually doing pretty good. The rant's about the USPS post office. I don't know if you guys have heard or not, they're raising the price of stamps again. Which in itself isn't that big of a deal. I think they're raising another 2 cents. So I think they're 66 now. I think they're going to 68, I think. I bought a bunch of forever stamps before they raised it the last time, which I still have because I don't use that many stamps. But what kicks me in the ass is I turn on the news and there's the post office general, you know, the postmaster general, I guess, you know, the big one. Well, you know, we're losing a lot of money here because people aren't using the mail anymore. Yeah, they're using email and all the other electronic means to do their letters and stuff. Well, idiot, the more you raise the prices, what do you think's going to happen? You know? And they'll see how they're losing money. If not that many people are using the mail anymore, they're just not making money, but they're not losing it either. You know. And of course, keep raising the prices is going to keep people that much farther away from it, I would think. You know. I mean, I think they're going to probably settle on $1 stamps. I almost bet money on it. That probably in the next 2 years, maybe 3, we'll see $1 postage for a letter. And then they'll probably pretty much, nobody will be mailing anything except unless they absolutely have to, because it's ridiculous. And I remember 3-cent stamps too, believe it or not, when I was a kid. 25-cent stamps, absolutely. He said, well, now they got the forever stamp, which was kind of smart in a way, because it keeps, stamp prices, well, they don't have to spend more money to keep making new stamps every time they raise the price, But then again, on the other hand, if you had stamps from, say, when the first ones came out, which were what, like 40 cents or something like that, you're still kind of ripping off the system, but not really, But I mean, the reality is, it's ridiculous. And I just hate when they complain about it. Well, we're going to have to keep raising prices if people stop using the mail. How do you figure? If you're not putting through that many letters, that's less wear and tear on the machines. It's less man hours needed to monitor all this stuff. They should be breaking even. Now I realize that most businesses project their profits every quarter. So if you're supposed to make, say, $1 billion in the first quarter and you make under that, oh, we lost money. No, you didn't lose what you didn't have. You just didn't make as much as you thought you were going. I never ran my business that way. I mean, I ran my business, whatever I made, And at the end of the year, I said, all right, well, how did I do through the year? Okay, not too bad. Maybe we'll try and make a little more next year. But I never once sat down and said, all right, I need to make this much money every quarter. Otherwise, I'm losing my mind and I'll just have to close the door. Because that's ridiculous. But that's what a lot of these businesses do. That's how they operate. Now, how greedy have people gotten to where you can't do less than, say, whatever you think you're worth. You're only worth what people are willing to pay you. That's it. Pretty much same thing. Now, Joe Rader says they got to pay the employees. Well, that's true. Well, they can start laying off some of the employees if necessary. I know, like here in Sebring, this is a relatively small town. There's 3 post offices here. We only need 1. The whole town is like 20 miles long, right? The main post office is like in the middle of town, so you can get to it easily from anywhere. Then they got one over there on that end, they got one over here on this end. I go to the main one because that's the one I like, the one behind the mall. And the people are friendly there, they're not jackasses. But, start shutting down some of these places, They're still driving around in 30-year-old trucks, most of them, Had the mail delivery guy come here a couple of days ago to drop off a package. That thing sounded like it was on its last leg, I mean, they got like 1 million miles on it. I don't know what, they probably got duct tape holding them together, right? They're not really spending money, at least they're not spending it to where it's going to benefit the company. And they need to do away with these pensions, too. I said I have 2 friends that both retired from the post office. They were both internal in the store, neither one were carriers. And after 20 years of service, their pension is $4,000 a month for the rest of their lives. I mean, that's great for them, but that's what they were making when they were working. Usually your pension is a little bit less than what you actually got paid, Give them $2,000 a month, or $3,000 maybe, I don't know, but $4,000 seems, and the way it's set up, they have to put the money aside for the pensions before the people even retire, and that's what's hurting them. Every year, I think the USPS is $5 billion or $7 billion in the hole. It's ridiculous. But keep in mind that even though it's a private entity now, the government still actually controls it. Anything the government puts their hands on, they just completely screw up. So, So, and then, of course, not just the stamps and the whining about it, the service it's gone to shit, you know. And I don't know how many of you guys deal with Amazon. I buy a lot of stuff from Amazon. I'm a Prime member, you know, and I wouldn't be if I didn't buy so much stuff from them because it really wouldn't be worth it. But you know, when you buy something, it's a Prime special. It's a 1 or 2 day turnaround to get your stuff. Well, almost every time, 2 days winds up taking a week. Well, it got lost in the mail, or it was damaged. My ass, it was damaged. You know, they're getting behind, and it's not Amazon's fault. It's USPS. You know, I don't know what deal they got with them, but maybe they need to renegotiate it because it's rare that you can get things in 1 or 2 days like you're supposed to. I mean, it happens, but it's not consistently. Some things I get real quick, other things, they're all Prime. It says 2 days, you know, and 4 days later I might get it. Oh, you know. Let's see, did I miss any important questions here? Tammy says mailing packages are crazy. We just send through Amazon or PayPal, which sucks because we would love to send stuff I make, but there's no, well, that's true. And it is very expensive to ship stuff now, you know. And I just think it's going to get worse and worse. Tom says the post office is making a bundle, shipping packages. They do not need letters to make. Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand the problem. That shows so they're still waiting on the mailman. Yeah, it's pretty bad when you can get things quicker from China than you can from across the state, you know? And that's kind of what's happening in a lot of ways. Hey, Crooked River and Eastern Railroad. How you doing, Crooked Dave? Good to see you here. I got your email, by the way. It's going to take me a few days to you know, lay it out, put it in an STL file. I'll set it up for your printer. So really all you have to do is load it, throw some resin in there, hit the go button, and you'll be good to go. You know, if you have any questions or problems, just, you know, call me and let me know. Or email me or however you want to do it. You forgot what time it was. You know what time it is. I don't do that anymore. Remember when I used to do my videos? You guys know what time it is? And I'd point to the printed clock I made, you know. Millennium County Crime, something like that. Even I don't remember that much. But, oh, okay. Oh, damn, I clicked on that. I wasn't supposed to. Oh, yeah. Well, see, I print my own cows. But I wouldn't mind buying some farmers, though. But thanks for that. I appreciate it. I keep forgetting I'm not supposed to click on that stuff because it throws me out of my OBS screen. Well, I agree with you, Andy. Postal should be a not-for-profit state-owned service. I agree. You know, and they could find a lot of things, or they can fix a lot of things by simply eliminating the profit margin. Anything that's a necessity should be not-for-profit. That includes electric, your phone, you know, internet. That's the problem. Everybody's trying to make a profit off everything. James says shipping's not cheap. Yes, not. Well, gas is climbing here again now. Yesterday I went out. It was $3.68 for regular. It was $3.52 a couple days before. That was a big jump. I don't know what it is today. I don't follow it every day, but you know, it's crazy. And there he is. Tom's Trains and Things. Tom, how's it going? Good to see you here. Hope you're doing okay. Post office lot for what I ordered from him. No, I said it. They're getting worse and worse. They really are. You know. Drifter misses your Monday show, Tom, but I explained to him that, you know, you were scaling back a little bit because it was a lot of work to do two shows. James says, get a drone, fly across the border. There you go. Well, they were talking, well, Amazon is talking about using drones. But I could see a lot of potential problems with that. I mean, it seems like a great idea, but I could see problems. You know, if you think retail theft was a problem, imagine criminals out there with their shotgun. You know, dropping drones so they get free packages. I mean, you know they'd do it. You know, it's an inevitability. $1.80 a liter. There's what, 4 liters to a gallon, so that's almost $6 a gallon. That's a lot of money. Oh yeah, I forgot. How's Debbie doing, Tom? I hope she's doing better too. Hey, we're all falling apart, aren't we? It's not what the drone rules as they are now. Well, like I said, though, you're still going to have a problem because regardless of the laws and the rules, you know, I'm thinking about buying one so I can get better views of the sugar trade, but I do realize that it's illegal to run a drone over the track, so I'd have to be on my property and shoot at an angle. So I couldn't actually be over the train because that's illegal. But I'm kicking around the idea, though. Tom says Debbie's doing better. That's cool. Good to hear. All right, Drifter. Well, thanks for popping in, and we'll see you next time. And in the meantime, have a good weekend, and we'll see you later. Kyle says gas is $3.30 around me. I said, well, shit, I'll trade you. I miss $2 a gallon. I really do. I really miss $1 a gallon, but that ain't never coming back. Hey, truck driver, how you doing? Good to see you here. Yeah, everything's getting crazy expensive, so yeah, but that's the way it works, you know. Let's see, what else was I can do? I did the rant, I showed the video. Tom says I paid $3.20 today to fill up my car. Yeah, that's still cheaper than I said. It's $3.68 here. It's just getting worse and worse. And you know, worst part, you know, that idiot buying, well, it's going to go up, but that's okay because, you know, that means the economy's going good. No, it actually doesn't. Even it's $1.75 per gallon here. Yeah, I'd kill for that again. Yeah, you know, part of like I said, part of the problem, of course, is greed and all these stupid rules. You know. So anyway, that was my rant to the post office. I'm not holding my breath for things to improve there. I don't think they will. Honestly, I think they'll get worse. James says CP Rail CEO took home, holy shit, $4.5 million bonus. See, that's just pure greed. Nobody needs that kind of money. I don't care what anybody says. You know what? Now, if he's getting that in bonus, imagine what his regular paycheck is. He's probably getting like $20 million a year or something. How do you justify that kind of money? You can't. Nothing you're doing there justifies that kind of a pay rate. You know, and we almost CEOs, they literally shake their head yes or no and sign their name on shit. They don't actually do any work. You know, not really. They got the minimum wage crunch to do all their hard work. I miss 19 cents a gallon. That's a little before my time, Tom. I do remember 25 cents a gallon, but that was it. Yeah, they're having all kinds of problems. I mean, it just, they might as well shit can the whole idea. It's just not going to work. Yeah, it seems like no matter what they do, well, they can't get the price down. If they bring down the price, it means they're going to bring down the quality even further than they are. Now, Tesla's in trouble because his cars are literally falling apart as they age. And I understand that a lot of people are suing him over it. Because his cars are junk, basically. You know, they look good when they're new, and From what I understand, they're not that great when they're new either. Got Guns and Gadgets. I don't know if you guys watch him. His name's Jared. He does a gun Second Amendment show. He bought a Tesla. He had to bring it back twice for repairs because they had problems. But the first one he bought, he says, there used to be a test you do back in the day. You'd take a steel ball and roll it down, between the hood and the fenders and the trunk and the rear quarters and stuff. And it should be, supposed to be perfectly aligned, everything. The Tesla wasn't, One side of the hood was like almost up against the fender. The other side was like, a quarter inch away from the fender. They had the whole thing shifted wrong. The interior parts didn't made up right. He had all kinds of problems with the car. And I said, I don't know what he paid for it. It wasn't I think it was the Tesla S. That's the cheaper one, I think. And I'm thinking to myself, there ain't no damn way in hell I'd ever own one of them things. And if I did have one, I'd park it out in the road. I wouldn't want anywhere near my house because they're known to just catch fire for no reason, And when they catch fire, you don't put them out. Not easily. And he goes, not going their car, I'd rather give up driving. Now, I'd almost got to go along with that, I'll take my gas car any day of the week. Stormy Sky Rail Productions. Dave, how's it going? Good to see you here. Yeah, it's, I don't think they're going to go in. I know the Ford has lost their asses on that F-150 Lightning. They were going for like $80-some thousand or $97,000, I don't remember. Now they're selling them for $7,000. They just want to get rid of them. Just here, get it, take it. Probably no warranty on it either. And they're big pieces of shit too. If you try and tow anything with it, it cuts their range down like by 2/3. And once again, you run out of juice, what are you gonna do? Can't walk to the electric station and get a bucket of electric, you'd want to almost carry a generator with you, and a charger. So you could charge the thing either on the fly or in case you do run out of juice, you could just fire up your little generator and charge the battery enough, hopefully, to get back home. It's not a good system at all. Tom says, one day I saw 3 Tesla cars on fire. Had the road closed for hours. The fire department do not have the proper equipment to put out the EV car fires. Water and foam does the fires burn so hot. I don't know I don't think there is anything that actually puts them out quick, unless you throw a box over them and fill it full of carbon dioxide or something, to starve the fire. But otherwise, they've actually put out fires. Got the thing loaded up on the flatbed, rollback. Got it down to the boneyard. And it caught fire again before they get it off the truck. It's not good. Exactly, Andy. Thermal runaway. It's hopeless. It really is, It's just a bad idea. And they're even saying now that the hydrogen-powered cars are a big waste of money, too. Once again, we don't have the infrastructure for it. And it will take years to put the infrastructure in to do it, which, wouldn't be a bad idea if they started now. But once again, you're talking about investing a lot of money into a project that's not going to see a return for who knows how many years. It was a lot easier with the gasoline car because initially, I don't know how many people know this, but they didn't have gas stations in the very beginning. You went to your Trader Joe place, trader places, and you bought gasoline by the gallons. They were in gallon gas cans. And eventually they started building gas stations, and here we are today. But initially they didn't have the infrastructure either, but they really didn't need it before they built the car. Floyd Robbins, how you doing? Good to see you here. Bring back the Flintstone car. There you go. That's a little too hard on the feet, man. So that's like I said, you know, it's not going to work because, I mean, the government would almost have to invest in it because I don't think private enterprise has the money or is willing to sit on the money for who knows how many years to build infrastructure before electric cars really start taking off. Yeah, and the technology has to improve as well, you know. When you can recharge your car in the time it takes to fill your gas tank with gasoline, that's going to bring them closer to reality, but right now, that's not possible, you know. Yeah, I remember reading somewhere that even with a Tesla supercharger, it takes 2.5 hours to completely recharge the F-150 Lightning. Who the hell is going to sit around for 2.5 hours waiting for their vehicle to charge up? That's crazy. Dave, BNSF's N Scale. How you doing, Dave? Good to see you here. Yeah. That's very true. Time to follow the Amish and buy horses and buggies. Yeah. The only problem with that is, you know, you'd have to hire street cleaners after that because, you know, that could get messy. If you know what I mean. Well, Tom, you're probably partially correct. I think it would take even more than $800 billion to do it, but it would be a good start, you know. But then again, like I said, there are other problems. The fact that EVs are extremely heavy. They weigh like 2,000 pounds more than a normal gas car. You've got to have special tires for them, which are not cheap. Your insurance is way more expensive because if anything goes wrong, they total it. You know, they're throwaway cars. They're not repairable. So they're going to do a lot of damage to roads, bridges, you know. I mean, a lot of these bridges probably couldn't handle the weight of an EV. That's a problem. So, you know, like I said, just all the ways around, it's just not a good deal. And he says, hey, it's not cheap either. Well, and it would go up in price if we were all driving horse and buggy again. You know, because ain't no way they're ever going to let you get away with cheap on anything. Street cleaners, new jobs. Yeah, there you go. Somebody's got to clean up all that horse shit, right? The horses produce methane. Yeah, well, see, horse farts aren't a problem. Only cow farts are. Because we don't eat horses. If we ate horses, horse farts would be a problem, too. It's got nothing to do with the farts. It's got to do with the fact that they're food. Yeah, Gerald, they sure do. It is unfortunately true. But the French eat everything. They probably do. Well, I mean, in some places they do eat horse. I mean, I probably wouldn't have a problem with eating a horse. I'm sure their meat is good, but generally we don't do it because, you know, same reason we don't eat dogs. You know, because they're considered, you know, like they're companions to people. So you don't eat your friend, right? Hell no. No. Yeah, the French are weird anyway, you know. Every time I think of the French, I think of that Monty Python, you know, Search of the Holy Grail. The French guys in the castle. That was weird. If you haven't seen the movie, you probably wouldn't get it, but if you did, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I said I haven't done. You know, the only thing I did with the trucks, like I said, I saw this last week. These are updated versions, newer ones. Still haven't put the decals on them. Still haven't painted the wheels or any of the other stuff. And I'm really not doing a damn thing here. I gotta get cracking. Yeah, neat. You've seen the movie then, right? These cows even eating friends. I mean, if it comes down to it, everybody running high. Well, they did that down in Venezuela when their money crashed. They ran out of food. I mean, they went after the zoo animals first. Then they went after domestic animals. Then they started eating each other. That's what I heard. I don't know how true it is. But I wouldn't die. I mean, hungry people will do stupid things, you know. I mean, I would eat a tree or something else before I'd eat a person. You know. You gotta draw the line somewhere. And there's plenty of stuff to eat out there, you know. And I'd grow my own food or something, you know. Might eat my neighbor's dog, but I wouldn't eat my own. I wouldn't eat anybody's dog. Soylent Green Raw, there you go. I think they're already doing that anyway. They're just not calling it the same thing. You know. That pretend meat or almost meat or whatever the hell it's called. You know what the hell that stuff is. It could be dead people. Who knows? House is desperate times call for desperate measures. Could be. Andy says we're having a father-in-law for dinner. Usually it's the mother-in-law, but they're probably tough, though, you know. I couldn't help it, sorry. Yeah, that old lady, they get a little grizzly after a while, right? Kyle says, I agree, I'd rather eat dirt first. I agree. There are plants and stuff. I mean, I'm not a vegan. But if I had to, yes, I would eat plants and anything that wouldn't hurt me. And it goes, yeah, too tough. You got it, didn't you? It's just going to get, you know, things are getting out of hand. I mean, you heard they just slaughtered another 1.7 million chickens up north. So I think it was in Missouri or something. I don't remember, but yeah. A couple of chickens tested positive for bird flu. Oh, we got to kill them all. Why don't you try testing them all first, you know? I find it hard to believe that nearly 2 million chickens got sick all simultaneously. Yeah. They're killing the food supplies. They really are. You know. And of course, they're trying to ban backyard chickens. I told my neighbor, they come to my yard wanting my chickens, they're going to get lead poisoning instead. Yeah. You don't take what's mine. That's all there is to it. And you're not going to put me in a position where I eat your poison or die. It just doesn't work that way. But, you know, it is just getting crazy. I know, fun. I went to talk to my neighbor across the street, Carla. She's a nice black woman that lives across the street. She bought the house there, and she didn't know I had chickens. She's right across the street from me. I have one rooster. It's kind of a nuisance. I said, you tell me you never heard my rooster? Nope. Are you deaf? She goes, no. She says, I guess this house is really well insulated, and she doesn't really go outside much. So, you know. So I says, well, I said, you know, to eat eggs? Oh, I love eggs. I said, well, I got a shitload of eggs. I'll bring you over some, and I'll keep you knee deep in eggs as long as you want them, you know. So I'll be supplying eggs to everybody in the neighborhood now. And he says the chicken coughs and everybody cries. Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. So Joe said there was a report on Facebook today. Facebook. Yeah, they want you to register your backyard. Yeah, well, they want to do that with the chickens too. And you know what? Kiss my ass. My property. I'll do what the fuck I want on it. I'm sorry. It's the way it is. I will never go along with that, you know. And the reason they want to do that is so they can come and inspect it, you know. And of course, they'll find something wrong with it, and then they'll destroy it, and you'll be screwed out of your food anyway. But that's what they're doing. They're trying to, I think they're really trying to box everybody in to where you're going to eat the minimum. They want you to eat the bugs, you know. You eat the bugs. I ain't eating no damn bug. Not happening. Not on any day of the week, no matter how much money you got. I am not eating bugs. It's not happening. But I think ultimately, though, that's what they want you to do. And it's crazy. It really is, you know. What are you going to do? I mean, you know, we're living in unusual times. And I'm being very polite about that. Yeah, yes, you will obey. And you eat the bugs. He's the inspector. I don't know about eating them, but I wouldn't mind shooting them, though. You know? I saw that, troubled times, without a doubt. I saw a story on MSN today. I don't know. You know, a lot of times if you talk about something in your house, it'll come up in your feed, you know. And I wasn't talking about self-defense, but somehow or another, somebody must have in an area. Seeing all these self-defense videos on MSN now. And then one question is, do you really need a weapon to defend yourself? Well, if you're me, and you're kind of getting up in age, and you're disabled, and you can't fight anymore, well, yeah, I fucking need a weapon. You know? It's ridiculous. Yeah, I know, Dave. It's crazy. I guess they've been successfully, but they're only shutting down the small farms. The big ones they're not touching, which makes you wonder, you know, once again, what kind of money's passing hands that way, too. Yeah, there you go, Andy. I wouldn't eat them. I might smoke them, though. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In some places, they even outlawed collecting rainwater. I mean, they're taxing rainwater in some areas. Anthony said, Anthony, Georgia Sunbelt, they just repealed the law up in where he lives in Maryland. They used to tax the rainwater. Now they stopped doing it. I guess everybody bitched about it. How did they get away for that? How did they get away with that shit? How do we let them get away with that? I got 2 katanas. Try me. I'll make you famous. Good one, Kyle. I like that. Big farmers pay for. Yeah, that's true. They do. Well, they got the money. I guess if you got the money, you can do whatever the hell you want. Well, actually, you know, I heard that Oregon's going to repeal their legal marijuana law. They don't like it now all of a sudden. Guess they found out that it cures diseases, and we can't have that, you know. I read that not too long, a few days ago, I think, that they said they're rethinking the whole legal marijuana thing in Oregon, you know. And you watch, they're going to repeal it, I guarantee it. Because, like I said, all of a sudden now that the doctors and the scientists are finding out that pot may have some properties to it that may heal some diseases. And we can't have that. Well, that's true, Dave. There are a lot of crazies there, but, you know. I mean, you couldn't pay me enough to live there. You know, just not happening. Yeah. A friend of mine moved to Baja, Mexico. He's all the way down near the end there, and I can't remember what town it is now. But actually, it's not even a town. He's really out in the boonies. He says, you know, you ought to move down here, man. This is a great place, you know. I said, yeah, but you're not allowed to have a gun down there, are you? Said, oh, no, you can't have any weapons. Well, fuck that. I can't bring a weapon, and I ain't living there. Kyle says, curing disease. Oh, don't want the doctors and titans to lose their millions would be a trap. Of course it would. So why do you think they tried to outlaw ivermectin during the whole, you know, yeah, fuck it. The COVID thing, you know. I guess you're allowed to say the word now. Because they knew it would actually cure you. And a lot of people that were taking it did get cured of COVID. And that wasn't the plan. The idea was they wanted as many people as they can to die, and those who lived to take the vaccine, which would ultimately kill them anyway. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, Russ. Not in the least. Like I said, they're all going. Don't they have a mandate too to start making gas cars illegal over there? I know that they're going to ban them as far, I think, from 2030 or something forward. Can't own a gasoline powered car over there anymore. You know what? They can just go fuck themselves. Well, yeah, that was the first thing I saw, Gerald, and I said the same thing. And the first problem they had was, of course, people weren't getting drunk anymore. They were getting high and wrecking their cars and shit. And they couldn't do anything because the original law over there was driving while intoxicated, DWI. Now, we used to have DWI in Florida, and they changed it to DUI, driving under the influence, which covers a whole host of things. Driving while intoxicated pretty much only covers alcohol. So when people get in a wreck and they were higher than a kite, they couldn't charge them with it, because their law was specifically for driving while intoxicated. So they had to change the damn law so they could start fucking people. And of course, the other problem is they can't measure how high you are. They could determine how much alcohol is in your system, but they can't measure how much pot's in your system. It'll show up as being there, but they can't measure the amount. So how do you, it was a big mess. The whole thing was. Yes, they are, Tom. There's no doubt about that. Cal says, what about the vaccine? Oh, the vaccine will kill you, unless you were lucky enough. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people don't know this. It was publicized briefly. You had a 50-50 chance of getting the real vaccine or the placebo, because they were testing it. And I think they wanted to make sure they didn't kill everybody all at once anyway. It would be suspicious. My mother-in-law got the shot, and she's fine. And I mean, she's going on her 4th year now, 3rd year, something like that. Not having any side effects or any problems. Other people that I know, like I had a friend down in Naples, she got the shot, died 3 months later. She was my age. But when she died, she was, 60? She was 60, exactly. And she was in perfect health. Took the shot and died. So there's a good probability if you did accidentally get the vaccine, or now I don't know if that applied to the boosters, but I know the vaccine, the first one, you had a 50-50 chance of getting the real one or placebo. Don't take the vaccine. Don't get the boosters if you haven't already. I said, I got COVID back in 2019. Both me and my wife got it. We were sick as shit for about 12 days. I thought it was just a really bad flu. I don't usually get the flu either, but on occasion. And we got over it, and life went on. But if you went into the hospital, chances are you weren't coming back out, because they were killing the people in the hospital. Pot is big business in Canada. Well, it's big business down here too. I took my wife out shopping yesterday. She had to go to Home Depot, and right next to Home Depot is the donut place. Dunkin' Donuts. So she had to go have her coffee. So right next to it in the same building, there used to be a gold distributor there. They were selling gold, Not anymore. Now they're selling pot. That's kind of funny. There was 2 signs at the door. No weapons allowed, no smoking allowed. Okay, all right. You're going in there to buy shit you smoke, but you can't smoke in the place. And the door handles had, they were metal door handles, but they had cloth coverings on them to keep you from leaving your fingerprints. No other reason to put a cloth handle on a door. So, like I said, it's technically recreational pot is not legal in Florida. Not yet. They're trying to get it through. Now you can get a medical marijuana card and buy that. I think all the medical marijuana basically doesn't have any THC in it. You're not going to get high off it. But you could buy stuff on the internet that does have THC. It's not really legal, but nobody's going to jail for it. So, Russ says, yes, no sale of gas cars after 2030 or 35 in Oregon. I believe they're trying to follow the fucking morons. Yes, they are. Yeah, the funny thing. Well, they've already banned gas trucks in California. If you have a semi, you can't go into California. They banned them. They're only letting electric trucks in through now. So, of course, that cut most of their inventory down, because how many people are driving electric trucks? So then when they put people out of work, they literally forced half of their business out of the state. I mean, talk about stupid. So what's going to happen is, 2030 comes around, they're either going to change their mind or they're going to have very empty roads there. Maybe that's the plan, though. Who knows, Crazy. Yeah, it used to be the gold, the actual gold. Now it's actually Acapulco gold, right? There you go. Yeah, like I said, I don't smoke pot. I did when I was a teenager for about a year. I really didn't enjoy it, so I quit doing it. Plus it was expensive as shit even then. I had a friend who used to buy a pound a week. $300 a week he'd spent getting high. That's what a pound went for at the time. And I'm thinking, he wound up putting the bullet in his head anyway, but years later, he killed himself because his girlfriend left him or something. That was the end of that. But he used to come to my house. He'd run out of pot if he had a slow week because he was a construction worker. He'd spend his whole paycheck just to buy pot every week, Well, if he had a slow week, work wasn't all there all the time. So if he had a slow week, come over and say, hey, man, you can get me high. I said, hey, I don't do anything, Come over to the house one day, he says, you got a pillowcase? I said, well, yeah, why? He says, well, go get it. He said, do you have any Lysol? In the spray can? I said, yeah, I got that too. Why? He said, bring them both out here. I'm thinking, what the hell is this idiot going to do, right? Puts the fucking pillowcase over his head, starts hyperventilating himself, and tells me to spray the pillowcase with the Lysol. Well, I said I was 17 years old. I really didn't give a shit. I did have a rule, though. Don't die on my property. If you think you're going to die, go out on the road, He got high off of it. And I'm thinking, what the hell is wrong with you? That can't be good for you, And where did he come up with this shit anyway? I mean, he laying in bed one night thinking, how can I get high? Well, I know, a pillowcase and some Lysol. I don't get it, Not much of a life. That's true. Never smoked weed, quit vaping back in August. Yeah, vaping's bad for you, too. My stepdaughter's in the vaping, and I'm telling her, I said, you're probably doing more damage. If you gotta smoke a real fucking cigarette. They're not as dangerous. And they're finding out that they really aren't either. Floyd says they just jumped the price of gas here in Ontario, 14 cents. Now, I said, yeah, that's what James from up there said. $1.80 a liter, that's nuts. That's just a little larger than an extra large coffee. That's about $6, isn't it? Somewhere around there. Yeah, there's 4 liters in a gallon. I knew that. Yes, Washington State, too. I live in a sea of morons here. Or else you live in Oregon, you got to get the hell out of here, man. Have they, I know there was parts of Oregon, I think it was Oregon, or was it Washington? I know part of them wanted to secede to Idaho, I think. I may not be right about that, but I know that several counties wanted to secede and get away. I think it was pretty sure it was Oregon because they're so fucked up there, you know. Yes, actually it is, Russ. It's way worse. He says it'll wipe your lungs out very quickly. And I kind of knew that when I first came out with it. Yeah, I know. Isn't that funny, Kyle? Vapes are much more addicting than cigarettes. The thing that was supposed to kill cigarettes became more powerful. Yeah, go figure. Yeah, I knew that day. Whole east end of Oregon once out. They're going, is it Idaho, I think? I can't remember. What the hell's next to, I don't remember now, but whatever state's next to them, they wanted to jump over to. And you can't blame them, you know. Like I said, if they were smart, they would just build a wall from Washington State all the way down to Mexico and then all the way across and let the Mexicans have it. Yeah, I figured it was. I thought it was Idaho. I just wasn't 100% sure. Somebody crushed me another cockroach. Really? I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but I'll leave it go. Is it Idaho or Idaho? Depends whether you got tits or not. You got tits, Idaho. If you don't, then Idaho. I guess. I don't know. Don't get me started, damn it. I'm telling you what, it's crazy. Cheech and Chong, yeah. You know, they're doing another movie, I heard. I think it's called The Last Movie or something like that. I mean, them guys are like old, you know. I'll probably go watch it because I used to watch them all the time. I used to listen to them when they were doing records, you know. Remember records? And I had a few of their records, and they were funny as shit. And then when the movies came out, I watched all of them. Even though, like I said, I didn't get high. But it didn't really matter because they were just fucking funny. Give California back to Mexico and say, yeah, exactly, man. I'd be okay with that. Yeah. Well, now they're worried that Mexico might break off anyway. They're saying that along the fault line, the San Andreas Fault. Well, I guess not all of California, but part of it. They're waiting for the big one to hit, and they're thinking it could be soon. It really wouldn't be a loss. I'm sorry, it just wouldn't. Unfortunately, I don't have any relatives over there or anything, but, you know. Even New York, you know, New York's got their heads up their asses, too, and it seems like a lot of shit's happened to them lately, too. They're having flooding, and they had an earthquake over there, you know. Well, that part of Jersey, but. Records, the things that keep me entertained at work. Yes, I bring records to my job. There you go. You know, records are making a comeback, you know. I saw some of the new digital record players now. I haven't listened to them yet. They're supposed to be way superior than the old ones. Yeah, actually I do now I think about it. Sorry, it took me a minute. Yeah, they were smoking all kinds of weird shit anyway, man. As I haven't seen a Cheech and Chong movie in forever, you know, but I still remember some of it. But I'm kind of curious to what they're going to do on their last movie. Probably will be their last, too. Now, so as many earthquakes as happening on the Ring of Fire, I wouldn't be surprised if the big one. It could. Yeah, who knows? Space Coke, yeah. Listen, that time, what the hell is that movie? I can't remember the name of it now. Long time ago, too. Jim, a 4.0 earthquake was a drop in the bucket. They'd love to take things out of context here. Well, that's true. It was a small quake. I was in Indiana many years ago. It was probably about 30 years ago. I don't remember. They just got divorced, so I went up there to kind of visit my family, you know, My mother moved there. My sister lived there. My brother lived there. So I went up there to go see him, and I took a job while I was up there working in a box factory. And we were right next to the railroad tracks, because the railroad tracks were all over the place in Warsaw, Indiana. So I worked second shift, and we're out there working on my table, and the table starts shaking. So I'm making a joke. I thought it was a train going by. Realistic. I said, earthquake, people, watch your heads. Well, they had the radio playing there about 10 minutes after it happened. The announcer gets on the radio, says, well, you guys that thought that was an earthquake, you were right. And I think the epicenter was in Champaign, Illinois, and they felt it all the way down to South Carolina. So, like I said, it was small, though. I don't remember what size it was. I think it was like maybe 3.5, something like that. When you get into seven and up, then you're talking people are going to die. Thomas says, I was in California in 1989, San Francisco. Oh, yeah. We worked when the 6.9 hit and the road fell out. Yeah, I remember. Well, my friend and his family moved over there. They moved. They were right there in San Francisco. They were only there, I think, 3 days. Then that happened. They packed up their shit and came right back to Florida. That scared the hell out of them. You can't blame them, The problem is you don't get any warning with those things. They just happen, and you better hope you're not in the wrong place in the wrong time, And he says, how did we get to plate tectonics? I have no idea. That's a weird transition, huh? Pot, plate tectonics. That's right. My wife is terrified. I was watching the news on the internet the other day, and of course, they have a Category 6 hurricane now. We never had it before, but they just added that on because they're supposed to be so much bigger and destructive because of climate change. But they're predicting something like 27 named storms for this coming hurricane season. So my wife's like freaking out. They're probably full of shit anyway, like they usually are. And they're only saying that maybe one or two might actually hit land. I wouldn't worry about it. Remember, we're in the middle of the state. We'll get the tail end of it no matter which side of the water it's on. But we won't get the brunt of it, and that's all that really matters. So I'm not really too worried about it. Anything on tea? What's tea? So yeah, she's a little freaked out. That starts, I think, in June 7th. That actually is true, Tom. As a matter of fact, my Wise Guy video that I'm doing tomorrow is going to cover weather manipulation. I was watching a video, and the government actually admitted that they can control hurricanes to a degree. Just like they can control the rain. All that rain that they were getting in California, that was cloud seeding. They admit it. They don't even try and hide it. So there you go, Floyd. The earth moved. You want to pressure your lady, that'd be one way to do it, I guess. Yeah, look up your generator. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Because I'm sure I'll need it. The one thing you can almost always count on, no matter what, you're going to lose power for a while. And since I got a freezer with meat in it, that has to stay running all the time, So that's why I bought the 12,000 watt electric generator. It's electric start and everything, so I don't have to fuck around pulling it. Actually, I still have my 6,000 watt, 6,000 watt generator in the shed. It still runs and operates, so I have two of them if worse comes to worse. But that one is an electric start. After you start it the first time, it's not too bad, but it's that first time, Unfortunately, I have starter fluid here because you ain't starting it any other way. Dave says East Coast is big news to the lamestream media because they're through there. Yeah, exactly. Do it before the storm. Yeah, exactly. They said it's going to cost me money though, so I don't know. I gotta try and put the money together for that adapter that goes behind the power meter, and I believe that's $700 or $800. We'll see. No, it's really not, Andy. It's real. It's not it's not really new either. Back in the Old West, they were seeding the clouds. They used aluminum oxide, I think. And they would put them in balloons, like a little small balloons. Launch them up there, the balloon would break when it got to a certain height. And that aluminum oxide would get in the clouds, and you would almost instantaneously get rain. It didn't work all the time, but it worked enough. They stopped doing it because the water that was coming down was contaminated with the aluminum. So a lot of the animals would be drinking the groundwater and dropping dead, So they quit doing it. No, I don't think they can produce the clouds. I think you're right about that. But if they're there, and there almost always are, they can seed them. As far as the hurricanes go, I didn't listen to the whole thing yet. Like I said, I got to watch it before I do my video. But they actually did talk about hurricanes. You can look it up. Do a search for Project Fury. One word. You'll have to really hunt for it because there's two Project Furies. One has to do with boats. Has nothing to do with the environment. The other one was a project where they were actually trying to manipulate hurricanes. They can't do everything yet. Yeah. But they're making progress in steering them, possibly making them more powerful. So, like I said, it all depends. I used to listen to a professor. His name was Professor McCanney, James McCanney. An old guy, really smart scientist. And he claims that hurricanes have nothing to do with warm water. Which really, if you think about it, they were getting hurricanes in November, hitting up in Jersey and New York. The water's fucking cold as shit. So how are they getting the warm water to drive the hurricane? The hurricanes, in theory, based on that, should die out when they hit colder water. But they didn't. So it has nothing to do with the water temperature. He claims it has something to do with space or whatever. I don't necessarily agree with that either. But I don't think it has anything to do with the water temperature. Now, of course, this year they're saying that the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico are way hotter than any other year, although I don't see how. We're getting nighttime temperatures down in the 40s and 50s. How hot can the water get? And that's going to cause bigger, more destructive hurricanes and more of them. Remember, these are the same people that will predict rain, tomorrow afternoon, and it won't happen. They'll be wrong. They're wrong 50% of the time. So don't write off a lot. Don't write off things because it doesn't seem likely. You'd be surprised what they can do and what they can't do. I think they're lying about a lot of things. Like I said, I don't believe there are nuclear bombs. Until I see one go off, I'm not going to believe it. Am I wrong? I might be. But, I'll wait for somebody to prove me wrong. If they claim they can do it, that stops the conspiracy. There's probably some truth to that too, Andy. I can't argue with that. But I'm seeing things out there that don't make sense. When a hurricane, pops up in the Atlantic or wherever, I do watch them closely because, I don't want to be caught with my pants down. And when I see hurricanes doing loop-de-loops out in the Atlantic, going south, north, east, west. They don't do that. They've never done that before. They generally travel east, northeast. They generally don't go south. And they damn sure don't do loop-de-loops out in the ocean, you know. Somebody's trying to steer them. I am sure of it. Well, you're right about that, Kyle. They do lie about stuff. It's a lot of fear porn, you know. And a lot of it, I think, is just to get people, you know, nervous. And, you know, I had a friend many years, I can't remember which hurricane it was. And him and his wife, and they had 5 kids. They were living in Naples Park like I was. And this hurricane was, you know, they were saying, it might hit Naples. I looked at it, I said, no, it's not going to hit here. I'm not worried. Anyway, they got in their van. He drove up North Florida, right around Ocala, right? Where do you think that thing hit? Right where he drove into it. They were stuck up there for almost 3 weeks because power was out. They couldn't get gas. I mean, all kinds of problems. He finally came back. He says, I feel like an idiot. I said, well, you should. I told you there's nothing to worry about. He said, well, we were all scared. I said, yeah, I understand that, but my rule was if I'm sitting by, if I'm staying there, you're okay. If you see me driving away, best get in your car and follow me, but it's going to be bad, you know. And so far, I'm not bragging, but I've been right about all these hurricanes, you know. Even when Irma came up, that could have been a potentially deadly storm, but I just had a feeling that it wasn't going to be. And I was correct, you know. It never did what they thought it was going to do because it died out. And that was the biggest hurricane ever recorded. And I think it was manipulated. I think that they actually made it that way, and it was too big to sustain itself. As soon as it hit land, it died out. My wife was terrified. She thought we were going to die. Because the radio was saying, 25-foot tidal surge. We're a mile from the water. So I'm thinking, wait a minute. Water drops down as it travels. It's not going to hit us 25 foot because that'd be over the house. I'm trying to explain this to her. She's not listening. We're going to drown. We're not going to drown. We'll be fine. By the time it gets here, it'll be a couple of feet deep, Yeah, we'll get wet. Probably the house will suffer some damage, but we won't die. And of course, it never happened. We literally got 6 inches of water for about a half an hour. It came in and then it went right back out. And that was the worst of it. So, think about this. A hurricane went across Florida and then came back across, wind blows west to east. Yeah, I know. So how did that hurricane turn out and go against? Well, so I'm saying it was manipulated. Now, I read somewhere a few years back that they could steer them with a space-based laser, like from the satellites. It's probably possible. I don't know. I'm not that smart. I couldn't tell you one way or the other. I'm just telling you what I read. I mean, because they're not doing what they're supposed to do, what they've always done, one has to assume that somebody's trying to, take control of it and steer it the way they want. Gerald says the most accurate weather tool is Weather Rock. Hey, where the hell is the Weather Rock? Don't they have one in Nevada, I think, or is it Arizona? I know there's a famous one. It's a Weather Rock. It's kind of funny, but, there's a sign above it saying Weather Rock, and if the rock is wet, it means it's raining. If the rock is dry, it means it'll be sunny out, If there's ice on the rock, it's probably going to snow. It's kind of silly, but supposedly it's pretty accurate. And he says, okay, what can we do about it? Could you say it big enough or fast enough so they won't snuff you? No, you really can't. We have no control over it, I don't know if you believe in God or not. I do. And I simply pray over these things because there's nothing else you can do. I mean, sometimes you could, you can outrun it if you think that's what you should do. But here in Florida, it's like, we're 4 hours away from the state line. Well, Here I think I'm only about 3 hours away, but because we're further north now. But if it goes up the coast, really, where the hell are you going to go? You know, and we're really kind of trapped there unless you got a boat. And you go out in the Atlantic or out in the Gulf, you know, get near Mexico or Texas rather, and you might be okay. But like I said, it's hard to outrun them things because you don't know where they're going to go. You know, said my friend thought he'd be safe if he got in the van and drove north, and he drove right into it. You know, so and I hear that happens more often than not. Just gotta kind of use your own, you know, your own thoughts, feelings on it. Places Thomas heard, yeah, most of them do. Well, like I said, they always travel west until they get near our land, then they tend to go east. You know, sometimes. Like you said, if they go under Cuba, they're probably going to wind up in the Gulf of Mexico, in which case they can either hit Louisiana or New Orleans, rather, or Florida, or both. Possible it could hit Texas, but some of them have. Like I say, you really just have to kind of watch it. It's really hard to predict what they're going to do to some degree. What they don't do, though, is do donuts out in the ocean. They've never done that in the past. If you go back, say, 20 or 30 years and track all the hurricanes from the time we started recording them, none have ever done that. Not one. Now they're all doing it. And it ain't climate change. Yeah, well, Dave said if it's wet, it's raining. Yeah, I said that. Joe says you put a rock outside, if you can see it, then it's daytime. If it's wet, it's raining. If you can't see it, then yeah, exactly. If it's covered with white stuff, it's snowing. Or pigeon poop. Hey, JD, how's it going? Good to see you here. 1760. Okay, somebody's slacking here. One of you guys didn't hit the like button. Better do it. It seems like half of the South runs to Central Texas. That's true. Well, you know, they got a hard-on for Texas, but they also got a hard-on for Florida, too. Both of our states have pretty much, you know, flipped off the government. You know, right now I think they got a bigger hard-on for Texas than they do for Florida. So if I were you guys, I'd be a little nervous. Hey, Raymond Anthony, 127. Good thing you're here, man. Good to see you. Yeah, I know there's no such thing as global warming. It's ridiculous. You know? I say climate change is bullshit. I mean, yeah, climate changes every minute, but not the way they say it does. I'm getting a little behind here. Hold on. Kyle says, Hurricane Kyle in 2002 is running around like a chicken. Yeah, it was. That's what I'm saying. That's not normal. And they don't do that on their own. There's something going on there. It's good old Mother Nature when they can stop a volcano. Well, that's the thing now. I don't know about volcanoes. I think there's not much they can do about that. That's just basically the earth letting off steam, right? But they can kill hurricanes in their tracks. I read it was a scientific report I read about 15 years ago. And it's just a solid science. It will work. All they have to do is ground the area. Like out in the ocean, they'd have to have a big ground rod, which I don't know how they do it, but they said they could actually, as soon as the hurricane crosses that area, it would kill it immediately. So apparently hurricanes are electrical in nature. I'm not quite sure what that means, but that's what they say. So a ground rod would actually kill it. It would make it dissipate. Now, they've proven that in Hawaii. Hawaii is a natural ground rod. And very rare, I think only one time has a hurricane actually hit one of the islands. That was recently. And once again, I think that was steered into it. But it didn't do anywhere near the damage that, the weather people said it would. So I do believe it's possible, but, why would you want to kill something like that? It's more fun to watch people die and see houses blown up and all kinds of other shit, Because remember, the assholes that want to kill us are sick bastards anyway. I wonder, how come you remember that one, Kyle? I wonder why. Yeah, that was his namesake. Greta Thunberg needs a not. Did you see that she just got arrested again for protesting? Apparently she was braless and wearing a t-shirt. And she looks like she's well endowed. Which maybe she always was, but maybe she strapped them down. Who the hell knows? But so now she's pissed off because everybody's like ogling her, She's still a dumb cunt. And I wouldn't fuck her with your dick, but, that's just me. JD says the climate changes 4 times a year. Spring, summer, fall, winter. There you go. That'll work. Tom says no plastic bottle is going to change it. Well, of course not. I said it's all horseshit anyway. We don't know if this stuff is, cyclic, or it probably is, 1,000 years ago, we don't really know what the weather was like on Earth because they didn't really record it. Did they have severe winters in some places? No one knows, Did they have really hot weather? No one knows. Raymond says, Native Hawaiians have a huge respect for the love. Well, they have to. Great a tick turd. She's not really ugly, but she is. I mean, she's like ugly inside, and it kind of reflects on her exterior. She just looks like she wants to kill everybody, That girl ain't right, man. She needed a good, you know what I mean? Dave says if Yellowstone blows, that's the thing. Now they can't prevent that from blowing, but they could minimize the damage by draining the water. Now NASA, why them? I have no idea. Last year, they claimed they wanted to throw more water into it to cool it down. Have you ever tried to cool down a grease fire with water? It don't work, does it? It makes it worse. And they said that water in the caldera is what's going to make that volcano so dangerous when it blows. And it may take out most of the United States. I believe we're actually safe here in Florida. Like we're going to be the only state that is untouched by it. That's what they project anyway. But they could fix this by simply draining the water out of it, let it blow, and it'll do much, much less damage. Which kind of makes sense to me. Like I said, you ever tried to put out a grease fire with water, you know what I'm talking about. I remember my parents telling me about it years later, Dave, plus I studied it in school once for a weather project. There you go. Ooh, I'm getting behind here. Gerald says Greta needs a paper bag on her. No, she's a triple bagger, man. Absolutely a triple. JD says everything you buy is wrapped in plastic. I know, and it's not good. It's killing us slowly. They're saying that microplastics are in everything, including us. I always thought that, I like plastic to some things, but I just knew it was a mistake it was never thoroughly tested, or maybe it was. But we need to go back to glass and steel. Yeah, Gerald, she might score then. Apparently she can't get laid. Ain't nobody in her right mind is going anywhere near that. Val says, I don't date women of my generation to begin with. Okay. Raymond says, Greta Thunberg has definitely lost her marbles. She really gives Sweden a bad name. That's true. Isn't she? Yeah. They say she's, autistic. But not in a good way. I mean, like, You look at Tammy's son, Ray, he's autistic, but he's like a great guy, you know. But she, on the other hand, there's something seriously wrong with her. Yeah, she's special, all right. Hey, Anthony, Georgia Sunbelt. How you doing, Anthony? Good to see you. Says, hey, y'all, missed all the good stuff. Crappy weekend ahead. How to get my grass cut. I cut my grass yesterday or today? Yesterday. I didn't think I was going to have to because usually this time of the year we don't get much rain, but we're getting a little more than usual. And when it rains, the grass grows. Well, the weeds, really. Kyle says, I'm actually a special needs person. I'm still smarter than her. Yeah, my dog is smarter than her, man. And he ain't that bright. Sorry, Pogo, but it's true. Yeah. All right, what happened? I get locked up over here again? Wow, yeah, you're typing too fast. Slow down. I'm getting behind. Someone needs to take one for the team. No. Not happening. I wouldn't blame anybody for going anywhere near that. Don't be so sure about that, Gerald. I wouldn't put nothing in that girl's mouth. I mean, that's suicide. Raymond says, I think Great is lying. Well, she might be. You never know. But she kind of has that look about her, though, you know. I don't know. You can tell there's just something not right with her. Kyle says, I volunteered, Thomas. You could have that one. I ain't touching that one. JD said he mowed yesterday, too. There you go. All right, Floyd. Have a good one, man. Thanks for hanging out with me and the rest of us. And have a good weekend, and we'll see you next time. See, I told you, I wouldn't fuck her with your dick either, man. At least we're in agreement with that, right? An American Girl doll has more that's true. Well, it's a little scary, you know. How dare you, huh? I don't know. That, like I said, you know, if she wasn't such a whack job, yeah, she might be fun to be with. Who knows? But, yeah. Yeah, worst part is you don't know if she really, you know, I wonder. I mean, I believe she does, but, you know, sometimes you got to wonder if people really believe some of the crap that they're spewing, you know, because some people do it just for attention. Like, look at that one guy there. What the hell is his name, though? One that ran for president. What the hell is his name? I can never remember who the hell he is. Yeah, he's a climate control freak. You know, he's full of shit, and I think he knows he's full of shit. You know, because nothing he does coincides with what he claims he believes in. And Julia, my nickname was Roadkill. Yeah, Gore, Al Gore. I know I can't remember his name. Yeah, Al Gore. That guy's a piece of fucking work too, and that's putting it lightly. He was just on TV recently, I think. He was bitching about something. Catch up, man. I don't know what the hell he is, but the guys, he's a whack job without a doubt. Like I said, he's sitting there telling me how I should eat bugs, and I shouldn't drive my gas car, and I shouldn't use my gas oven or any of this. Shouldn't mow my lawn with a gas mower. You've got a private jet, a mansion with like 15 air conditioners. Right? Your electric bill is less than my yearly intake, money wise, or more than that rather. Fuck you. That's right. He invented the internet. Sure he did. I didn't tell you all the things I invented, did I? They're right on the same par with him, right? All right, Kyle, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in. Have a safe weekend, and we'll see you next time. Yeah, exactly. Do as I say, not as I do, Al Gore. Somebody should have, give him some lead poisoning a long time ago. Yeah, I think he did, as a matter of fact, Anthony. Maybe. I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't really keep up with these people, but oh, that was John. All right, yeah, John Kerry was the one that married the ketchup lady. Now, I don't think Al Gore's not even married, is he? I can't imagine anybody wanting to sleep with him, but man, beer, pig. Yeah, there you go. If I had to fly, I'd rather ride a public jet as long as it's not anything built by Boeing. Yeah, right. Yeah, Teresa Hines, that's who it was. Um, I wouldn't fly. I mean, I don't like flying anyway, but because I have trust issues. If you're not looking out the window while you're flying the plane, I have a problem with that. But there was one plane just recently, a couple weeks ago or a week ago. It was in flight, and the engine cowling flew off of it because somebody forgot to bolt it down. You know, you got to be a moron to get on an airplane these days. These idiot mechanics they're hiring, and the pilots. They're talking about putting transgender pilots in the planes. I'm sorry, not happening. I'll pass on that one. Deb, you out there? Logo, you barking? Somebody's outside. They ain't coming in though. There ain't no way of getting a plane. I don't even like. Honestly, I don't think I want to even get on a train right now. They haven't any problems yet, but it seems like they're replacing all the professional people, mechanics and stuff, and pilots and engineers with, morons. I guess that's one way to kill people off, huh? Raymond says, I strictly prefer to travel by rail, the true American. Well, that's true. I did not know that, Anthony. Is that true, really, in Brazil? That's scary. Yeah, you're right, Andy. They're saving money, everything. They don't want to spend the money. And it's ridiculous. And you don't end up costing lives, That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't want anybody working on my cars, because nobody can do a good job, I'll fix my own damn car, thank you. As hard as it is these days, I'll still continue to do it. I don't know. Craziness. So, the trains are still going. They haven't derailed yet. Let's go over to the other camera. Get a better view of them. There we go. See that? It's probably not good that they haven't. They've actually been running pretty good lately. I haven't had any real problems with them at all, like in the last couple of months. They still have to. You can see the two pumpkins right up there. I got to grease the trucks on those, the wheels and all. They're making a racket. But that's not an easy job to do on those scale trains. I don't know why they didn't make it different, the trucks differently. I mean, realistically, you have to actually remove the truck from the train to disassemble it. Like some of the other train companies, like Atlas and whatever. You can unscrew the covers on the bottom of the truck, pull the cover off, re-grease it, clean it out, whatever you got to do. Put your cover back on, you're good to run. Scale trains can't do that. They split in half, and in order to do that, you have to basically remove it from the train. It's a very stupid way to build a truck. Tom says, I just read the Wikipedia history of the internet, and Gore never mentioned anything. Well, no, because the internet was actually made by the Army. They had the internet long before we did. It was for their communications between troops and the generals and stuff. So they actually invented it. And at some point they decided to put it out, for civilian use. He had absolutely nothing to do with the internet. The Bombardier, I think I spelled it right. Okay. No derailments, take notes, nor Yes, they are. My BLI steamer is very easy to lubricate. I haven't had to do it yet, but I did look at it. Very easy. I'm not so sure about that, Andy. She's probably dry as a bone. I'm not going any far. You're killing me, man. No, but the scale trade, they're a son of a bitch, man. Like I said, I don't know why they didn't design their trucks differently. I mean, I guess they did it on purpose. The problem is they're not well lubed to begin with, I don't believe, because like I said, mine are making a racket and it's down in the truck. The motor's fine. At first I thought maybe the bearings on each side of the motor might be dry, but I was able to lube those. Didn't quiet them down in the least, so I said the noise is down in the truck. So, I mean, they look like they're well sealed. I don't think anything got in there, but who knows, Russ says nobody talks about Gore's ridiculous under the world predictions either. He had been wrong about every time he's been wrong. First he said we were going to freeze and we were going to melt, then the world was just going to end altogether, and the guy's a moron. Dave says Al Gore said he invented the internet almost as full of it as Brandon. I'm surprised. Brandon's not taking credit for that. Although he did ride the rail though on that bridge in Baltimore, the one with no tracks. Yes, they are rivet counters. They're both of them are the expensive ones. My the non-rivet counter, whichever one they call, I forgot what they're called now. They're holding up great. If the rivet counters are making the racket, I don't know why. I mean, I do stress them though. When you're pulling 40 cars behind it, I'm sure it's putting a little bit of stress on the loco, but still. Thank God it was just a little bit. Yeah. Gore is stuck in 84. Yeah, yes he is. Raymond says LGB locomotive motor boxes are very easy to grease. Just unscrew and remove the cover, add grease for your, I saw a lot of the smaller, the HO ones are the same way. I know Atlas is easy, and the other ones, see what the hell they're called? Forgot the name already. They're real popular. But almost all of them are easy except for scale train. I don't know why they make them that way. No, they're actually ES44s, both of them. My SD40 is not a rivet counter. It's the other one, the cheaper version. And I have no problems with that. It doesn't click either. Of course, my curves are, like I said, I've got 28 and 30 degree curves. So, not having that problem. I imagine on an 18 they might, though. Brandon is going to try and take credit for that bridge bank rebuild. Yeah. The only reason that we're paying for it, he ain't paying for it, we are, is to keep the insurance out of it because they would do an investigation. If there's an investigation, I'm sure they're going to find things that we might not be too happy about. That was no accident. Not sure why they did it, but it was done on purpose. Yeah. Maybe it was just a test, you know. Take down a bridge. We get away with that, we take down other ones. Wasn't it? Wasn't that there was a where the hell was that? Mississippi River, I think. I'm not sure. A bunch of barges broke loose, and they shut down the bridge because they didn't know if anyone would slam into the bridge or not. How did they get loose? I mean, come on, really? Either we got really stupid help out there that doesn't know how to tie knots, you know, or this is being done on purpose. That's what I'm thinking. But oh, you're absolutely right, Raven. Like I said, nothing these days happens by accident. It's all pre-planned. And when anything they've done in the past, they'll try and repeat, you know. So, oh yeah, they say somebody detonated that bridge anyway. I don't know if you saw any of it. Um, the later videos, they show there was an explosions, several of them. Once when the boat hit the pier, and there was another one up top and another one further down up top. They're trying to say it was a transformer, but I'm thinking, why would you have a transformer on a bridge? You know, this doesn't make sense. And why would they explode before the bridge actually came down? So, I'm not buying it. Russ says, I wish manufacturers would just put Katie's on their model trains. My pet. Oh, you're absolutely right. That's the first thing I do when I get them. I change the couplers. The scale trains has one of the worst couplers, I think, out of all of them. They put these plastic couplers on there. I've actually broke couplers, you know. So it wasn't hard to figure out. I put 158s on them now, the Katie's. They seem to work well. And I've actually everything that scale trains makes, I change out the couplers, not just the locos. So now pretty much when I get a train car or a loco, I'm changing the couplers. It just goes without saying, you know. Leave the bridge for Mayor Pete. He'll get right on that. I think Pete's gonna get on as his husband's dick. That's the only thing he's getting on. I'm not buying it either. They're way too overpriced. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they were talking about bad diesel fuel too. And I'm not sure I believe that one either. You know. I mean, don't they have controls on that? I mean, aren't they supposed to, I know. Aircraft, same thing. You check your aircraft before you take off. It's part of your pre-flight checklist to make sure there's no water in the fuel. You know. Certainly, if it smells bad, you'd probably be nervous and want to drain that shit. Put some good stuff in. Yeah. Did he really? I wouldn't be surprised. Everything's fucking racist now, you know. Because Francis Scott Key was, you know, named for it. Because, you know, he was a patriot. Well, patriots are racist now, too, you know, so. Not a bunch of horse shit. The worst part is they're going to rename that bridge, and we don't know what they're going to name it. It ain't going to be Francis Scott Key. That you can count on. It'll probably be named after, you know, Michelle Obama or George Floyd or some other fucking whore. I'm telling. Yeah, that's true. I mean, everything is racist nowadays. Seems like it anyway. I'm not racist, not really. You know, I can get along with everybody as long as they get along with me. I mean, you know, you don't fuck me around, we'll be fine. You know? If you do, well, yeah, I might shoot you. It ain't got nothing to do with your color, though, or your race, because you fucked me over, you know. I don't care what color people are. Brandon Bridge, there you go. Wouldn't that be a slap in the face, huh? They did that, we'd have to knock it down again on purpose. Joe bribe them. Good one. There's no lack of talent around here, that's for sure. I don't know. So yeah, so one of these days I'm going to have to get off my lazy ass and pull those locos apart and clean up the trucks on them. I like using them, and I haven't used them in like, what, a few months now. And they're so loud that, well, Gerald said it actually hurt his ears, and he could hear it. This is a different microphone. It really does. It's very directional. And, you know, if I probably can't hear me now too well. You know, or at least I'm very, I mean, like when the train was running the other day, I was making a video, and it didn't pick up the train horn. That was right in the backyard. And I was really surprised. But still. Raymond says, I'm fed up with all this woke nonsense. I'm not racist by any means. Most people aren't, you know. Like I said, I know a lot of black people. I know a lot of Mexicans. I know a lot of Cubans. I know a lot of people, you know. We all pretty much get along. Like I said, unless you fuck me around, then we're not going to get along too well. But most of the people I run into are great people. They're responsible adults. They're not racist against me. I'm not racist against them. We don't even talk about that shit because it's a non-issue, you know. I think the government does it on purpose. They want us to be separated, you know. They want us to hate each other. They want to, if they elevate the hate, it plays into their hands better. How about Cluster Bridge? I drive the boat in the bridge if they name it like that. You may have to fight me on that one, Tom. I might want to drive the boat in the bridge. There we go. Brandon Bridge is falling down, falling. I would have thought one of the English guys would have came up with that one. American Girl Doll Bridge would be more appropriate. Not really. So is he from Scranton or Maryland? Who? You talking about Brandon? I'm not sure where the hell he's from. I thought he was from Baltimore. Didn't he say something about growing up near that bridge? Oh. Look up the word. Well, of course they are. I've been saying that for years. They morphed the word into something. It used to be you were prejudiced. When I was growing up, if you were prejudiced, you hated people of any color or any race that was different from you. The word racist meant something different. Everybody was racist. It means you look out for your own, which most people do, you know. But they morphed the two words together, and if you even look it up in the dictionary, there's no difference between prejudice and racist now. You know, they changed everything. I've never been either one. I guess I'm a racist in the respect that, yes, I will look out for my own first, you know, if I have no choice. It'll test you to, you know, there's a black man and a white man hanging off a 10-story building over the edge. You're a white guy. You can only save one of them. There's absolutely no way in hell you could save them both. Who do you pick? You don't know either one of them, you know. So you don't know what they're like or what their personalities are, but just based on instinct, split-second decision, you're always going to save the white guy. It's human nature. Now, if you're a black guy up on the roof and there's a white guy and a black guy hanging on the edge, who's he going to save? He's going to save the brother, you know, because that's in our nature. Same with animals. If you take the same theory with a dog and a cat, there's a dog and a cat hanging off the edge of the roof, and the dog comes up there, he can only save one. The dog will save the dog because the dog is one of his own, and vice versa for the cat. That's just nature. That's just the way things work. It doesn't mean we're bad people. It just means that it's built into you. That doesn't mean you hate that other person. It just means that from a natural point of view, that's what you're going to do without thinking about it. It is actually a valid test that proves racism or lack thereof. You know, now if you're prejudiced and you hate blacks and you're a white guy, well then you should probably get the shit kicked out of you at the very least, because nobody should be prejudiced, you know, or vice versa. That's just me. That's just the way I think about it, though. Bridges only collapse once usually. Biden has just collapsed several times. That's true. Hey, good one, Russ. I like that one. Or Lionel Train's bridge. There you go. That'd be a good one. Yeah, Cindy Bridge. There you go. You're probably right, Anthony. They'll probably be knocking on all our doors. I get one of those 3 o'clock in the morning rude awakenings, you know. That would scare the shit out of me because, you know, I would probably attempt to shoot them if I'm half asleep, you know, and wind up getting killed in the process. I think they should do away with those no-knock warrant things. There's bullshit. Dave says Ruth Bader Ginsburg Memorial Bridge or something simple. Could you imagine naming a bridge after her? Well, what would that do? Abort itself after a while? Hey, it could happen, right? Biden is from wherever he makes up his... Yeah, that's true. That guy's so full of shit it ain't funny. Yeah, unfortunately that's true, Anthony. And I'm not a supremacist either, or an extremist, you know. I don't think that I'm any better or lesser than anybody else. I think we're all kind of equal in a way. I mean, I know the world doesn't treat us that way, but they should. You know, like I said, I don't have a problem with anybody unless they try and hurt me, you know, or rip me off or something. And I don't give a damn what color you are then. The solution's probably going to be the same regardless, you know. So you break in my house in the middle of the night, I don't care what color you are. You're going to be dead. That's the only color you're going to be. You know. I don't, you know, I don't worry about it either way because I don't think anybody's that stupid, I hope, you know, to break into my house knowing that I'm armed. But, you know, according to the government, though, I'm an extremist and a gun nut and a Christian and everything else. Well, they're right about a few of them things, but am I a gun nut? Not really. A gun is a weapon, and a weapon is a tool, and a tool that I think I may need someday. I hope I never do, but if I do need it, I'll have it. It doesn't make me a fucking extremist. Anthony says, according to DOD, you're an extremist. You can't be an extremist. You're black. Yeah, I guess it's true. They don't care what color you are either. You know, if you're conservative, you're the enemy. It doesn't matter what color you are. And I assume that you're more of a conservative than anything else, Anthony, just like the rest of us are. And we all want the same things in life, you know, pretty much. Want the government to get out of our business. Want to be able to keep our money that we make. Just be left alone to go about our lives, you know. And it shouldn't matter what color you are or what belief system you have or anything. There you go, Super Mario Brothers Bridge. Well, that'll probably fall down too, though. There you go. I'm probably an excrementalist. Everybody shits on me. I'm not going to touch that one, Andy. Sorry, just not going to do it. Russ says, I'm not a racist, but I discriminate against assholes. Oh, don't we all? There's a different word for that. Ain't racist. It's going to be red color, yeah, if you break into my house, absolutely. Anthony says, I refuse to do the anti-extremism pledge during extremism training. Really? Did they try to do that? Oh, I don't blame you. Good for you. Pink man. Turn red if I get too much sun. There you go. Hey, ELW Trades, how you doing? Good to see you here tonight, man. Anthony says, color has nothing to do with it. Conservative, Christian, Second Amendment. Yeah, that's true. It really doesn't have anything to do with the color because, you know, well, remember, Biden went against the blacks. Remember what he said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. You know, he doesn't like the blacks. I think he hates the blacks, all of them, whether they're conservative or not. That's true of most Democrats. Yeah, right, Russ. If you're a Trump supporter, you're already in the government sites. That's true. Lego bridge. There you go. That'll work. Even Andy liked that one. Basic, simple handguns are more than good enough. Assault rifles are just too much. Well, I gotta disagree with that because whatever it takes. I mean, look, let's say 20 or 25 people come to your house. They want to kill you, rape your wife, maybe your kids, and they're going to take everything you own. A handgun, at best, you might hold 17 rounds, and that's if you got a Glock. And 9mm are useless anyway, as far as I'm concerned. You want a real gun, you want a 45, 44 Magnum. You're looking at anywhere from 6 to 8 rounds. Okay? Yeah, you can reload, but that takes time. If you have a rifle with a 30-pound or 50-round capacity, or even a 100-round capacity, you're less likely to not get killed than if you didn't have it. Everything has a purpose. That's true, ELW. All Democrats hate black. They really do. I think they always have. Well, if you go back in time, I think like 40 years ago or so, when Biden was a senator, you could tell he hated the blacks. He didn't have nothing good to say about the blacks. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. They're all full of shit. They'll kiss your ass until you vote them in, and then they forget about you. That's what they've been doing to the blacks for all these years. Well, they've been doing it to all of us, really, but mostly the blacks. Dave says, no such thing as assault rifle, just looks scary. That's true. The AR-15 is a worthless gun anyway. I'm sorry, that may offend some of you guys, but I would never own one. I have an AK-47, bigger round, guaranteed to drop your ass, An AR-15, it's a 22. It's a high-velocity, 22 caliber round. Yes, it will do damage. Yes, it can kill you. Probably will. But I'd rather have the 7.62 by 30 round. It's bigger. It does a lot more damage, I mean, they shoot somebody's arm with that thing, might take their arm off. The AR doesn't do that. The AR is basic. I mean, it's still a decent weapon. But there's no such thing as an assault weapon. An assault is a what the hell is it called? Assault is something that happens. Like if I assault you because I can. A gun can't assault you. A gun can kill you. It can wound you. But it cannot assault you. Only I can do that. So it's all bullshit, Yeah, it's true, Tom. Guns don't kill people. People with guns kill people. Yeah, I've never heard of a gun yet, getting up out of its own accord and shooting somebody. It just doesn't happen, DLW says a pistol in each hand. Well, that helps too, but my right hand's weak nowadays because of the stroke, so. Yeah, I like the 45. I have a 1911 clone, holds 8 rounds. 7 in the mag, 1 in the chamber. And, I got a few extra mags, so, I mean, I'm not too worried. But I also have the AK and I have an SKS, both the 30-round mags. I'm not that worried anyway. Andy says, so Jim, I ain't black, really a mutt, African, French, Irish, Native American. Wow, you are 57 flavors there, right? You're still black, though. It doesn't matter, though, man. It's just, you're a great person. That's all that matters, If you're a good man, what more can anyone ask for? That's the way I don't judge a man by his color. I judge him by his character. If you're a good person and you're not going to hurt me or anybody I care about, we'll get along just fine. If not, well, then we're going to have a problem. But Dave says, cool ancestor. That is pretty cool, man. Dave says, me, I'm boring, mostly Norwegian. Oh, there you go. That's not too bad, though. I'm basically Italian and Hungarian. My mother's family were, my grandfather on my mother's side was Italian. My grandmother was Hungarian. On my dad's side, both my grandmother and grandfather were both Italian from the old country. So basically, I could still consider myself mostly Italian, but technically, yeah, there's some Hungarian in me too. But that's it, though. I mean, that's pretty much our family line goes back. Mostly Italian. Andy says, Anthony, I could have just done with an extra foot of height. I wouldn't want to be too tall. I like being, I mean, I'm not really short. 5'7" I was, and 5'6.5" now. But maybe 5'7" was a good size. I mean, 5'9" probably would have been better. But honestly, I don't think I'd really want to be 6 foot or more. I had a friend that was 6'2", almost 6'3". Every time he came to my house, he'd bump his head on my ceiling fans. He had a duck under the doorway. I mean, that must suck. And he couldn't drive a regular car. He never fit in one right. I mean, he wasn't fat or anything, but he was tall. He drove mostly pickup trucks. Raymond says, sounds like you can go to hell for being anti-gun. Dave says, SUVs kill people. Oh, wait. Well, I mean, look, you don't need a gun to kill anybody. It's easier, without a doubt, but I can kill you just as dead with a bow and arrow, or a crossbow, a good rock, a hammer, screwdriver, a fucking pencil. It doesn't matter. If you have it in your head that you want to take someone's life, you'll find a way to do it, Yeah, it's true. Exactly, Anthony. Mass stabbings in Australia. Now they want to ban. Now they're doing the same thing in England. They got rid of the guns, so knifings went up. Now they're trying to get rid of, I think they did actually ban knives. Now they're talking about banning clubs. Because, after knives, it will just club you to death. There's always something to kill somebody with. Remember, Cain killed Abel with a rock. The first murder in the history of man, and the guy used a rock because that was all they had, I guess. ELW says 9mm good to me, wife 38 carrier. Yeah. Well, my wife, I got her a 380, which is basically a 38. It's small, semi-auto. It's a Kimber. It's a nice weapon. I'm half tempted to buy myself one because it's easier to carry. I've got an officer's 45 Colt, 1911 clone. And I wear it in the shoulder rig, and I'll tell you what, that thing gets heavy after a while. But I know it'll get the job done. So while we have, the laws are really kind of good for us here in Florida, as far as self-defense goes, there's still rules, A woman could pump as many bullets into a perpetrator as she wants. Nobody says nothing. The guy, on the other hand, if you shoot him more than 2 or 3 times, you may get in trouble for it. And you can't shoot him again after he hits the ground. So he may live if he hits the ground, he's only wounded. You can't shoot him to finish him off. They had a guy did that in North Florida a few years ago. He's doing life in prison for murder, even though it was self-defense. But he dropped the guy, and the guy wasn't dead, so just went up, boom, put one on his head, finished him off. I don't blame him. I probably would have done the same thing. So, but, he was, once again, he was using a 9mm. If he'd had a 45, 44, 357, a real gun, sorry. He'd have dropped him before, the guy would have been dead before he hit the ground. And that's what you need to do, because once they hit the ground, you can't legally shoot them anymore. So, Thomas says, I'm basically Mafia. What the hell is Mafia? Or is that Mafia? Mafia with an A. Are you Sicilian? Because, the Mafia started in Sicily. But they did migrate to Italy, too. But, my family was from Naples, Italy. It's funny. Yeah, my grandparents. And then, of course, my dad moved to Naples, Florida. uh, I wanted to visit Italy, but I'm not going to be able to now. I'm too old. But and the fact that I won't fly, I would have probably took a boat, but I don't have the money either. But I would have loved to have visited Italy because, it is my heritage. Only criminals can eat steak, Anthony. Yeah, probably. Yeah, Anthony wants to know the same thing. You talking about mafia or mafia? Mafia might be something different. I don't know. Glad I didn't mess with the package, Thomas. There you go. Thomas says 5'11", younger days now. Yeah, we all lose height as we age. Your spine compresses. I went to the chiropractor last month. He actually stretched me out. I actually did pick up a half an inch. He thought I might pick up an inch and be back to 5'7", but measured me, I'm 5'6.5" again. So, because I was 5'6" for a while there after the stroke. He said, well, it's probably spinal compression, from age and the stroke. Weird. Raven says, back in the day, gun laws were more lenient, yet mass shootings were very, well, they were. And you're right, JD, all gun laws are illegal. They're supposed to be not infringed, Like I said, a lot of people don't agree with me, but I do have a different attitude with guns than most, Now, it's funny because the court just ruled that the illegals can carry guns in America because it's not just an American right, it's a human right, which I agree with. Plus, it makes it easier to take them out if they get stupid. You always say, well, self-defense, he had a gun, I shot him before he shot me. Yeah. So in a way, it's kind of a blessing for them to be armed. Because, most of them shoot sideways anyway. They ain't going to hit nothing. But I think even if once you do your crime, back in the West, if you went to prison, well, I don't think they actually had anything wrong with jails, but you went to jail for something stupid, like whatever. When you came out of jail, they handed you your gun back, your holster, your ammunition, gave you a few bucks to get you started, and out the door you went. It was like it never happened. We don't do that now. If you go to jail now, it's a life sentence no matter what, because you have to fight to get your rights back. You can't vote. You can't own a gun. You do a whole bunch of shit that you lost when you were incarcerated. I don't think that's right. If you do your time when you come out, everything should be restored just like you didn't do it to begin with. That's the whole point of going to jail. Now, if you're in there for something so serious, well, one, you should be out. If you're in there for killing somebody, don't let you out. You don't have to worry about getting a gun then, because you'll be in prison for the rest of your life. Actually, you should have a bullet in your head. But that's just me, Big Pharma and their psychotic drugs. Yeah, that's true. A lot of these people that are committing these mass murders are, on certain medications, and they're finding out a lot of them now are transsexuals, transgenders. What? Death by Booga Booga. I remember that joke. That would be a terrible way to die, by the way. Well, that's true. You want to try and make the first one count. I mean, I've always been a double tap guy. When I got my permit, I had to go take a class for, shooting. And, it was quick draw. And shoot the paper target. Well, I shot it once in the head and once in the nuts. The second one, I was low for some reason. I was really going for a chest shot. One in the head, one in the chest. One in the head, one in the nuts. And starts to go, God, I hope I never have to go up against you. You're fucking brutal. I didn't do it on purpose, But either way, it would have took them down, no matter what. On the way down. Yeah, absolutely. They have a spell checker? There you go. Andy says, yeah, 6'1" now, down from 6'2". Well, we all lose. I said, my dad was that way. He used to actually be at the same size, maybe an inch taller than me. I think he was 5'8". Of course, he lived till 91, but the last 5 or so years, He was practically, I mean, he lost almost a foot. He would, I mean, actually, when he looked at me, he looked at my chest. You know, damn, how the hell did you get so short? You know, sucks. But it happens to the best of us. JD on Rumble. That's what I said. You want to hear me get down and dirty, listen to my Rumble show or my BitChute show, The Wise Guy. I don't pull any punches on that one. I have to be careful what I say here. Dave, I have a channel, but I don't visit it like I should. Well, I think eventually we're all going to wind up going there anyway, because unfortunately, YouTube's getting worse and worse. Russ says, I was 5'9" down to 5'6". Wow, you need to get one of those inversion chairs. Stretch your back out, you know. They work, I guess. But that was the chiropractor told me, that over time your disc will start compressing in your spine and you'll actually lose it. Which I guess makes sense. Still kind of messed up though. So I may be 5'5" at some point. That's gonna suck. Yeah, there you go, the rack. I guess that's one way to do it. Although it'd be rather painful at first. Dave says, was almost 5'9", 5'8" now. That's very true. Well, that's true. What is happening with YouTube? I'm not sure what any of you... Oh, well, YouTube is starting to crack down on basically almost all speech. You got to be... I've already gotten one strike against me for copyright infringement. I showed a video on my show here a few months ago. I got a strike. I got to be careful. You get 3 strikes, you're off forever. I got a warning. A few weeks after that, I was on a YouTube channel, another one. Not live or anything, it was just in the chat. And I think I said something about hanging somebody. They should be hung, which they should. And I got a warning for that. Inappropriate speech on Facebook. Now you got to be careful what you say. If you say anything that could be interpreted the wrong way, you could either get a warning or more seriously a strike against you. If 3 strikes, you're off the air with them. So a lot of guys have been thrown. I remember that guy Crowder with Crowder. He was doing a show. He's kind of like my Wise Guy, only maybe worse. He got banned from YouTube. He's on Rumble now. There's a whole bunch of people that got kicked off of YouTube. Now they're all on Rumble. The Rumble has there's no censors on Rumble. You can say anything you want, even shit you shouldn't say. But they don't care because it's a free speech platform. And of course, YouTube, you know, they're forcing people to get advertisements now. They want to pay you for them. They're manipulating your subscriber counts. And they're doing a lot of shit they shouldn't be doing. So I think they're on their way out. They say that some people think that within 2 years that YouTube will go completely belly up, and they might. Who knows? Gerald says a C rack or a double D rack. I'd go for the double D, man. C's are okay, but you know, double D is much better. There's no such thing as too big when it comes to that. For me, anyway. I was at a strip joint many years ago, and they had this guest porn star come in. She had 94s. The suckers, I mean, they must have weighed 50 pounds each. They had to. She was fucking huge, you know. And I don't remember her name now, but she was like a semi-famous porn star. So she did her, you know, topless pole dance act at the bar. Pretty impressive. She got a lot of money that night. Not just from me, I mean, from everybody. She probably raked in a couple of grand, hell. Let's see, Gerald says a C rack or a double D rack. I'd go for the double D, man. C's are okay, but you know, double D is much better. There's no such thing as too big when it comes to that. For me, anyway. There's no such thing as too big when it comes to that. For everybody. Dave says inversion table was comfortable. Had to get rid of mine when we moved. Yeah, I've never had one, but I would imagine they would do the job. I've seen them before. I've never been on one though. Thomas says C-rack. Okay, well that's cool. You know, everybody's got their own preferences. Anthony says stupid demon crats. They just have to have control. Yeah, that's true. They do. Dave says, guess we better shut up or we'll get Jim cut off. No, we're okay so far. We're not really getting into that area yet. Russ says, oops, wrong one. Russ says YouTube is attacking most. That's true, they are. Well, because, you know, they're the only ones they hate. I mean, they're starting to hate each other, though, too, though. There's a silent war going on between the libtards, you know. I mean, even a lot of them are even going after Biden now, you know, because he's not doing what they think he should do. You know, he's not fucking us over enough. Not to mention they're trying to copy TikTok. Yeah, they probably are. Ring seed. I'm not sure what that means. That's true. They can't let the truth get out during election season. You're probably right there, Dave. Yeah, last week, Jim. Yeah, I believe it will, Russ. I think things are going to get real bad, you know. Gerald says, I met Mimi Miyagi. I know that name. I think I've never met her, but I think I've seen pictures of her. In a Tata club. I got a Berinsky for $1. There you go. I'm not sure what a Berinsky is, but yeah, it's like a motorboat or what? Like I said, it's amazing some of the stuff you run into. Raymond says, I'm neither conservative nor liberal. I try and, well, that's the best way to be sometimes. Yep, I figured as much. I'm more on the conservative side myself, but it's probably because of my age mostly. Raymond, you're a lot younger than I am, so you're probably a lot more open-minded than I am. And I admit I'm not very open-minded in some things, you know. But, I mean, there's some things that conservatives do that I don't agree with either. So, you know, I like to think that I'm more in the middle, too. Probably a little bit off-center on the right side. I keep hitting the wrong one. If Dave wins, I'm afraid what do you... Well, you know that they're going to do. They said one guy that watches my videos, an older guy, he thinks if Trump wins, you know, civil war will happen no matter what. You know. And if Trump doesn't win, we may start the war. If Trump wins, they may start the war. Hard telling. Rams is more open-minded at 39. There you go. Dave says, when I was young, thought I was a liberal, then I grew up. I was never really a liberal, actually. I mean, I said there's some things that I don't have an issue with, as long as they don't go crazy with it, you know. Like years ago, I thought, and I still kind of do, that they should just legalize all drugs, you know. You take them and you overdose and you die, well, that's on you, you know. Because realistically, making them illegal doesn't stop them from happening, you know. We tried that with Prohibition back in the 30s, remember? And how did that work? It's the same thing with drugs or anything else. I mean, if people really want to do something, I think they should be allowed to do it. Although I think they should also be responsible for what they do. If you want to go out and get, you know, coked up or whatever, that's fine. But if you get in your car and kill somebody or hurt somebody, you get to die. You know, that's what the punishment should be. And I think that should be true of almost anything. And I guess that's about as liberal as I'm going to get on things, you know. I don't think that prostitution should also be illegal either. I think it's stupid. I could fuck somebody for free, but I can't pay them for it. How does that work again? You know, I just don't get it. It's dumb. So in that sense, I guess I've got a liberal mind, but in most things, though, I'm very conservative. So. Raymond says, I agree, Russ. I don't know how I've managed for a two for over the years. Well, you change with time. I said I have different thoughts on some things now than I did when I was younger. And I think that's probably just a product of age and wisdom, maybe. Russ says it is the people that believe Biden and continue to let themselves be gaslighted. That's the truth. I can't believe these idiots that voted for him want to vote for him again. I mean, what has he got to do to you before you figure out he's bending you over and giving it to you hard and dry, I mean, what the hell, I mean, it makes you wonder just how stupid these people are. But they will swear, and I've had, gotten in discussions with some of these morons, over the internet, of course, never face to face, because none of them got the balls to talk to you face to face anyway, but, keyboard generals or whatever they call them. I was like, oh, Biden's done all kinds of great things for the people. Name one. And they can't. Well, he's done a lot of good things, but no, name one then. What good has he done since he got in office? Let's see. He raised the price of gas from $2 a gallon to $4. We may lose our Social Security because, he'd rather give money to foreign countries than put it into our own cachet here. We need to, our own coffers, whatever the word is. He's trying to ban everything. He's telling you what you could drive, what you could cut your lawn with, what you can cook on. Isn't that what a dictator does? The same thing you're accusing Trump of that he never did. Biden is doing the exact same things. He's trying to get us in World War III. We may wind up all radiated. For those of the lucky ones, I guess. The rest will just be incinerated when the nukes start dropping. I mean, come on. What the hell's wrong with these people? Oh, no, he's a great guy. He's doing the best for us. Why? Because he's pro-abortion? Or pro-gay? If that's what you think a good president is, then you got bigger problems than you realize. So he's sticking up for the 1% of the population. The other 98% could go pound sand. I got a problem with that. That's true, Dave, and that's what I said down the road. I did change my mind. But I still have one idea, though, that kind of stuck with me. We should intercept the drugs, tape them so they're deadly, put them back out on the street, and let nature take its course, All right? The oldest business in the world, yes, prostitution. Been around forever. Anthony says David will weed out the idiots. Well, that's true, it will. Dave says, in my opinion, can't be liberal and Christian contradicting belief. Well, that's true to a certain degree. Now, I am a born-again Christian. And I said, I'm mostly conservative. Hey, Curtis, how's it going? Good to see you here. Like I said, I think as you age, though, you do change your mind on a lot of things. When I was real young, I had, I wasn't never completely liberal, but I had some liberal leanings, And I quickly grew up and said, no, that ain't going to work. And we're proving it, I mean, the liberal line of thinking now is, let's not arrest shoplifters. They'll stop doing it. No, it's actually gotten so bad now that businesses are shutting their doors. My solution to that is gun them all down. If enough of them die, maybe they'll stop doing it. Forget jail. Jail's a waste of fucking time. That's a vacation. You go to jail when you don't want to, have to go to work and pay your bills and, be a responsible adult. That's what jail's for. People that don't do that. You go to jail, you get everything there. You get clean clothes, you get a clean bed to sleep in, probably air conditioning and heating. You get sick, they fix you up, and then you just can't go outside. Now, for me, that would be a problem, but for a lot of people that go in there, they don't care. It's not a punishment. Dave says we really have to get rid of most agencies in D.C. They should not be able to make rules. Well, that's true. Like the ATF and actually all the ABC agencies are illegal, technically, because they're all doing Congress's job. And Congress should be held responsible too. Like you said, they hold the purse, and yet they keep throwing money out. So is it Biden's fault that $800 billion went to Ukraine? Or is it Congress's fault? They could have told Biden, says, sorry, we're not giving you the money for that. They didn't do it, did they? Because they're in on it too. They're just as guilty as the president and everybody else. We need to shit can the whole system and start over again the way it was intended. Next thing you know, Biden is telling us how to play chess. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I would. Now, yeah, he's working on it. He said pretty soon, you may have to pay to breathe. You take an extra breath? You get the firing squad for this guy, right? All right, Anthony. Well, thanks for popping in, and yeah, go get some rest, man. And we're gonna probably wrap this up pretty soon too. By 9:30, I think I'm going to wrap it up. Anyway, have a good weekend, and thanks for popping in. Have a good night. We'll see you next time. Hey, Thomas Moore, P&L Railway. How you doing, Thomas? Good to see you here. You're late. That's all right, though. Nobody's really late. Rest says, when I started a family, I became closed-minded. I believe in right or wrong with the Bible as my textbook. No, I'm not perfect. Same here, Russ. I'm guilty of a lot of sins. But I don't steal. I don't hurt people unless they hurt me first. But we all suffer the normal things, impure thoughts, stuff like that. But I try and live my life as good as possible, and always ask God to make me a better man. So far, he's working on it. But, it's tough, man. We're all sinners, and that's just the way it is. But there are people out there that just really need a bullet. Like we're all living in that movie, The Purge. Yeah, it seems like it sometimes, doesn't it? And Thomas says, Jim bought an HO482 DCC. Nice. What is it exactly? What brand? What model? Yeah. Inquiring minds want to know. Grandpa says, my biggest fear is that the U.S. will turn into California because, they're going to replace Biden with Newsom. I worry about that myself to a point, JD, but honestly, I don't see it happening. I mean, they would have to do some serious cheating to get Newsom in there because, let's face it, we all seen what he did to California. Can you imagine what he'd do to the country? I'm sure you could, but I don't see it. Same thing with Michelle Obama. They're saying that, because a lot of people think that they're going to put it in. If that is a guy, Michael. and it's just not going to happen. I mean, honestly, I know they're not going to let Biden run because they already know that Trump's going to blow him away. I think Trump's going to blow away anybody that tries to run against him because we know what Trump did for us and we know what he'll do for us again. You'd be a fool to trust another Democrat, regardless. I mean, even Robert Kennedy seems like a decent guy. He's running as an independent, but he's still a Democrat. I wouldn't vote for him either way, I just don't trust Democrats. They lie constantly. I mean, I know the Republicans lie too. But Trump, he's really neither Republican or Democrat. He really is an independent when you get down to it. He tells you he's going to do something, and he damn well does it. Tries to, anyway. Remember, they fought him tooth and nail every step of the way in his first term. He's smarter now. I think he knows how to deal with them. I hope he does. And if he does and gets away with it, he could turn this country around. In New Jersey, it costs $80,000 to $90,000 a year to house a criminal in jail. How tax dollars at work. But I'm saying, if you get a life sentence, just fucking kill them. I mean, make sure they're guilty, though, you know, because, I mean, I know the biggest argument against the death penalty was they accidentally, supposedly, killed innocent people, you know. You need safeguards for that, but it shouldn't take 20 years to, you know, fry them or hang them or whatever. Make sure they're guilty, especially the ones who admit to it. You know, realistically, if you admit to it, you don't even need a trial. You already admitted to it, you know. Break out the gallows, hang the son of a bitch, firing squad, whatever it takes. Kill him within a week. Problem solved. Televise it. Publicize it. So that the next asshole figure, well, do I want to be that guy? You know? I mean, that's the way I look at it. I could be wrong, but I doubt. Thomas says it's a CNO. Cool. Colorado and something, right? Not sure what CNO stands for. Well, yeah, they are all getting kickbacks from that. So I said, did you see the other day where Biden released his tax statement? What a lying piece of shit. Well, I paid taxes on 660,000 or 620,000? I don't remember. Well, bullshit. What about the millions you took from China and the Ukraine? You know, lying piece of shit. All right, Eddie, have a good one, man. I know it's late for you, so thanks for popping in, and hey, we'll see you next week. Well, this thing just jumped on me. Tom says, Jim, did you get the Pigpen STL file from me? It has a... Yeah, that's where I got the file, but I didn't print the feeder. But I think I will. Thanks for reminding me. Because like I said, the other ones are more of a water trough. And the one you gave me did have the feeder in it, so I'll make 2 of those. Thanks for reminding me. Shortliner rail fanner is never late. Proto Baggins, nor are they early. They arrive precisely when they're meant to. I remember you saying that a few times. Probably true. Hey, Steve87, PSAP. How you doing, Steve? Good to see you. Still on? Wow. Actually, this is not a long one. I'm going to wrap it up at 9:30, but there have been times I've been on till 11, so I don't do those too much anymore, though. Yeah, it is. We start out talking about trains, and then somehow or another, it gets to other subjects. And that's okay. I don't care. It's no biggie, but, you know. Right now we're talking about the State of the Union, which is not good. And some of the things going on, you know. Gavin Newsom is a reincarnation of Joseph Stalin. Could be. He's definitely a communist. I don't doubt that. And a very dangerous man. I mean, what he's done to California is terrible, you know. Thomas says it's a Bachmann Spectrum 482 of RF and P. Okay, that's cool. And it's DCC. Cool. Yeah, I have a feeling they're probably all possessed, right? I wouldn't doubt it anyway. Yeah. I mean, some of the shit that they think and do, it's just weird. They said it was a mayor of one of the states. I don't remember. Maybe it was New York. Yeah, Mayor Bragg no. Can't remember his name now. The mayor of New York, black guy. Well, you know, if we impose penalties on them, it just makes things worse for them. Well, if you shoot them, you eliminate the problem. You know? Giving them permission to shoplift, and now they're organizing in the theft gangs, is not working out too well because the businesses are saying, we're not going to do this. They're closing their doors and leaving. San Francisco, California, they're trying to craft a law that will stop stores from closing their doors permanently. Now, how the hell are they going to do that? You know, they can fine them. Go ahead and try, you know. Just file bankruptcy and be done with it, you know. Leave the state. Well, fuck you, you know. But it is. It's ridiculous. Gavin Newsom is a political clown. Yes, he is. Exactly, not Newsom. Yeah. Thomas says, I thought it was a C and O, but it's actually an RF and P. What does RFP stand for? I don't know all the, you know, the things there, so you have to let me know. Yeah, I did that once, Gerald. Never again. What was that? 12 hours, I think, something like that, or 14. I don't remember. Man, I tell you, that kicked my ass after that. Never doing that again. And then Artie went ahead and blew my record out of the water anyway. He did a 24-hour one, and I ain't doing 30. Russ says, dim politicians are total scumbags and always will be. Most Republican politicians are just losers. What I really hate about Republican politicians is their go along to get along, loser attitude we need. Well, I think a lot of them too. They really are on the other side. You know, they say two wings of the same bird. Nobody's doing anything. I watched the Biden impeachment hearing the other day. I got up early one morning. I woke up at 4 in the morning. I couldn't go back to sleep, so I turned on the computer, and there it was on, on the feed, and I watched it. And it was a fucking joke, And I even commented. I said, this is a show trial. Nobody's going to impeach Biden. You're talking about something he did as vice president. Who the fuck cares? How about talking about the things he's doing now? He's guilty of treason. He should be swinging off a rope. I mean, impeachment's better than nothing, but you're not going to do that either because you're not talking about all the things he's done. It's just a big joke. You're just spending the taxpayers' money for nothing. And even if they did impeach him, that's the House. Do you think the Senate's going to impeach him? Don't count on it. And if they don't do it, don't mean anything. Nothing happens. Here's a whopper about Joe's Uncle Bozy. Unbelievable load of bullshit. I didn't hear that one. I'm sure it's a winner, though. Yes, Steve said the same. Yes, they are, Jim. Both politician sides are making. Yeah, they are. That's all they're lining their pockets. They ain't doing nothing for us. The cannibal. Okay. Never found the body. Must have been cannibals that fished him out of the Pacific. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, as soon as he said he used to ride the train on the Baltimore Bridge, he rode it every day going back and forth. And I'm thinking, there's no rails on that bridge. What kind of a train was it? Was it the magic train? Like the magic bus, I mean, the guy's full of shit. His mind is completely gone. I think if you asked him what his address was, he probably wouldn't even remember he lives in the White House. I live in a big house. Not sure where it is, though. His mind is fried, There you go. The brain train. Magic mushrooms, yeah. They got him on something, man. Biden pulled the train, with a bunch of little boys. That's another thing. The very fact that he got caught on the air, pinching that little girl's nipple, you guys remember that one. And he did something to one of the boys, he stroked him or something, or then he whispered in one boy's ear that not to tell his parents about something. They never elaborated on that. I mean, the guy's a pedophile. How do you get to be president if you're a pedophile? I don't get it. Once again, as far as I'm concerned, acts of treason. Selling secrets to China. He got the millions from somewhere. And conveniently, it was in one of his shell companies that the Chinese, the CCP, had access to. So basically, he was selling secrets to China. I don't care what anybody says. Sure as hell looks that way, you know. But that's the thing. Democrats break the laws all day long, and nobody does anything. If Trump would have done any of those things, they'd have had him swinging off a rope. I guarantee it. You know. The good news is that Trump's clearing his name of almost everything, you know. They said that whole shit in Georgia's going to go away. He's going to beat that New York deal with the real estate deal because that was bullshit. And like I said, he's got that letter from the whore that basically exonerated him from anything. That right there should be enough to even just throw the whole thing out of court, you know, for the paying off the whore thing, which is bullshit, you know. Oh, and the Pedo Island Club. That's another thing. How come we haven't gotten the names of everybody that visited the Epstein's Island there, been on the plane? We know of a few that have. Bill Clinton was on that plane many times. So was Hillary, too. Why aren't those two swinging off a rope? That's what I want to know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They protect each other. You know why they protect each other? Because they're all fucking guilty of something. That'd probably get them swinging off a rope. It's the way it goes. Still pisses me off, though. Yeah, what are you going to do, right? As I said, if I were the president, two things would happen. One, I'd either be assassinated the first day in, or this country would be fixed literally overnight. Because I wouldn't put up with this shit. They think Trump's a dictator? They ain't seen nothing. I'd have them all fucking swinging off a rope. The list will, oh yeah, of course it will. I mean, yeah, they're all guilty. They say most of Hollywood, probably all of DC, they're all guilty as shit. They're all a bunch of sick bastards that need to fucking swing off a rope. Multiple times, if possible. I don't understand how she had an NDA and took the money. Why didn't Trump file suit for breach of contract? I think he tried, of course, you know. He's never going to get a fair shake. Like you said, even if you look at the real estate thing, the companies he took loans from said he didn't do anything wrong. Matter of fact, we'll give him a loan anytime he wants. We're very happy with him. How could you have a crime without a victim? You know. That should have threw it out right then and there. But I mean, you know what they wanted? They wanted his tower. They're trying to hurt him where they really think they can hurt him most by taking his, you know, because that tower is almost like sacred to him. You know, Trump Tower. And that's what she was going after, but it ain't going to happen. And now I think nothing's going to happen. The whole thing's going to wind up going away. The same thing with the whore. I mean, you know. She basically, there's a letter there. I saw it on the internet the other day. Says she never had sex with Donald Trump. She didn't even really know him. You know. And then it went on to say some other things. I don't remember what they were, but it basically exonerated Trump. You know. And I'm thinking, all right, even if he did have sex with her, and she was going to be a problem, the guy's a billionaire. He could have paid her off, made her go away, whatever, you know. The fact that he denies ever sleeping with her probably tells you something that maybe he didn't do. Yeah. Of course he was. He was good buddies with all the politicians. He was giving them what they wanted. Well, that's true. They've been trying to find anything Trump ever did wrong. 8 years, they probably think he's cleaner than everyone he is, you know. If he isn't, he's very smart, and he made sure he didn't get caught. I don't care what he did, you know. I don't care if he fucked some woman 30 years ago. I don't care if he fucks some woman tomorrow. If you're doing right by the people in America, you're the right guy for the office. What you do on your own time is your business, you know. But that's just me. Well, the thing is, he might just pull that off. Now, I talked about this on my Wise Guy, and I'm not 100% sure, but I did look it up. And the rules state that a president can't serve 2 consecutive terms, or more than 2 consecutive terms. So you do your first term of 4 years, your second term of 4 years, that's 2 consecutive terms. But if you sit out the next 4 years, you should be able to run again. Nothing in there says you can't ever run again. It just says you can't run more than 2 consecutive terms. Nobody's done it. I think everybody just assumes you do your 2 terms and then you're done. But I think from a legal standpoint, that may not necessarily be true because of the way it's worded. It's the same thing with the 14th Amendment, Article 3. The whole, what the hell is it called? What they were trying to get them for. If you read Article 3, and I did, I actually looked it up on it, I even posted on one of my videos. It says, any officer of the United States can be charged with insurrection. That was what I was looking for. Including officers of the president and vice president, officers of electoral officers of the president, vice president. It doesn't say the president, vice president. Remember, Lincoln came up with that after the Civil War. He was afraid that the South would infiltrate the government and basically probably hang him afterwards. He wasn't stupid. So he made sure that it didn't include the president or vice president, which protected him. Remember, Lincoln was technically guilty of insurrection. He had 2 of his cabinet members hung for insurrection because they didn't agree with him during the war. That's also, it's in history. You can look this up. A lot of people don't know it. Starting the war in itself was actually an act of insurrection. The South was correct. They did not want to pay taxes for their textile exports. And the North was trying to collect taxes because they didn't have any money. They wanted to collect taxes from the South because the South was exporting all the textile goods and making a nice profit. So when Lincoln tried to tax them, they said, right here, buddy, you ain't getting shit. So he went to war with them. But he's the one responsible for the 14th Amendment, actually all 5 articles, but especially Article 3, which deals with insurrection. He wouldn't include himself because if he did, he would have been hung for it. Yeah, but people read that, well, it says President Vice. No, it doesn't say that. It says the electors of president and vice president can be convicted of insurrection. But it doesn't say specifically the president and vice president. It says the electors of. These people that can't read, So it's the same thing with the terms. I think realistically, and he might try it, I don't know if he'd be in good enough shape mentally. I mean, if he's not, then he probably shouldn't. But if he's still intact mentally after he serves his first term and he wants to do a second one, I never understood why you'd have to kick out a good president. I mean, I understand they don't want anybody serving for life. They wanted Washington to serve for life. And he said, no, I don't want to do it. I think I should step down after so many terms and let somebody else do it. But it was Roosevelt that actually created the 2-term limit. Because prior to Roosevelt, there was no limit to how many times you could become president or serve as president. So, if you got a good man in there, as long as he's doing right by the country, why would you want to boot him out? I mean, if Trump would have ran, say, 50 years ago, I'd say keep him in for the next 50. I mean, just think of how great this country would be if he were the president all that time, So I don't know how that's going to pan out, but I have a sneaking suspicion that he might actually try and do a second term, which would really be his third one. Hey, Derail Daryl, how you doing? Good to see you here, man. Russ says, I also think Johnson, the speaker, is a good example of why we need fighters, not nice. Well, that's true. Johnson's turn. They don't. I'm not sticking up for him because they think he might be being blackmailed. I don't know. He just seems like an idiot to me. But once again, he's not helping the Republican Party at all. He's kind of shitting all over us. But they can't get rid of him yet because what's her face, Green, Congresswoman, she wants to get him booted. Problem is, if they boot him now, they're going to put in a Democrat. And that will give the Democrats control over the House. If they gain control of the House, they will try and push insurrection proceedings against Trump. Because the Supreme Court has said that only Congress can do that. And unless they had a majority of Democrats or rhinos, that's not going to happen. It's political suicide for anybody that does it. But don't think for a minute they wouldn't try. So we need to let Johnson stay there at least until Trump wins. Once Trump wins, then they need to kick him the fuck out. And hopefully half of the Democrats in there too for, treason, insurrection, whatever. Because they're all guilty of it. Missed my rants. I'm not ranting at the moment. I had a rant earlier about the post office. You'll have to watch the replay on that one. I try not to get too political here, but I save that for my Wise Guy videos on Rumble. And really, if any of you guys want to watch those, I don't have a link per se, but if you send me an email and request it, I'll put you on my email list because that's what I do. Anybody on my email list, I automatically send them notifications when I do a new Wise Guy, which is pretty much every day now, almost. So if you're interested in hearing what I got to say, shoot me an email, just say sign me up or whatever on there. I'll know what you're talking about. I'll add your email address in and, you'll be included when I turn out a new video, which, like I said, I'm doing roughly between 5 and 6 videos a week. They're an hour long. They're not terribly long, but I talk about different subjects, and most of y'all would probably agree with what I got to say. So, who knows? Yeah, I gotta agree with that, Russ, but I understand why they did, because back then people were probably not lunatics like they are now. I don't think they saw the potential for what we became. I mean, they did to a point, but not enough. Because remember, the original theory was congressmen and senators were supposed to do their term, step down and let somebody else take their place. And it was never meant to be a full-time job. It was a volunteer job that you would call meetings whenever needed and sort out whatever problems the country might run into. It was never designed to be a 40-hour work week or whatever they put in. So you can't blame them too much, because once again, we let the politicians get away with a lot of shit we never should have. And because we're not smart enough to, kick them out of office when they need to be, this whole thing, like you said, is kind of going to shit, I really do need a haircut, man. Hair's getting in my face again. That's going to be time, I think. Probably first of the month. Daryl says, no, not the post office. That's dangerous. Well, they're really screwing up, though, lately. I had to say something. He says, Daryl, got a question for you. Do I need to take out all the staples for doing a spread event? Oh, sorry, shred event. Okay. I'm not touching that one either. Russ says, post office, don't get me started. Yeah, well, that's right. It's not supposed to be a career. It was a volunteer. All the original politicians back then had real jobs. And I guess once a month or whenever something came up, they'd call a big meeting and they'd all get together, hash it out, solve it, go back to work the next day, you know. And they didn't get paid either because it was voluntary. It was an honor to serve the government and the people. It ain't anymore. Yeah, remember when Biden said to that auto worker, I don't work for you. Yeah, you do, motherfucker. You know, they should have beat the hell out of him right down in there to remind him that he does in fact work for us. We're the boss. Derek says back then it was done by farmers and businessmen that had better things to do. Big Jim. Well, you're right, Derek, like I said. And, you know, I still believe, I wish we'd go back to it. I know it's fair to some and unfair to some, but at that time you had to be a landowner to be able to vote. And women weren't allowed to vote because they didn't feel that women were smart enough to make an informed decision. And I still stand by that, at the risk of pissing off some women. I mean, there's some women that are smart, but, you know, remember why Bill Clinton won? Because the women thought he was hot. You know, that's why they voted for him. Not because he was any good at what he did, because he wasn't. They voted for him because they thought he was hot. Oh, he's a good-looking guy. We got to vote for him. That's not why you vote for people. That's true. You also didn't elect your Congress people. That was supposed to be done by the state legislature. And I'm sure at the time it was probably the smartest way to do it. And because they probably realized that the people would simply relax their standards, which we have, and look where we're at now, you know. Daryl says, no, I don't require the staples out, just ammunition. Okay. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about, but sounds interesting. He says, oh, I better get the lead out then, Daryl, but thanks, I can drop the bags then. There you go. Same as gas. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's just, there's too much stuff going on there that, you know, unfortunately, we the people are not doing our job either. Some of us are, but I said a lot of people, I said, you ever wonder how people like Nancy Pelosi have been getting elected over and over again for what, almost 40 years? You know, what the hell has she ever done for the country? Or even for California, for that. She's done nothing. You know? San Francisco's burning down around her, and she's busy with her $5,000 refrigerator with the best ice cream money can buy. You know? There's something wrong there. Speaking of that, you think like I do, Daryl. That's what I said earlier. Listen to my rant. I said, I think they'll continue till they hit $1. I think that'll happen within the next 2 years. Maybe sooner. Hey, Derek, how's it going? You sneak in there? I didn't even see you. Anyway, good to see you here. You think 4 years? I don't think it'll be that long. Not the way they're... No, they're doing 2 increases this year. I think it's in July is the next increase. July 7th, I believe. Then I'm taking my mother-in-law to the post office tomorrow so she can, you know, stock up on forever stamps while they're sort of cheap. I don't blame her. I've got some myself. I don't mail a lot of stuff, so I don't really care that much. But no, I don't think it could be that long, but I don't think so. Oh shit, it is 9:32. Where does the time go? What the hell? All right, guys. Well, I'm going to wrap this up then. I said I don't want to be here all night. I mean, I kind of want to be, but I shouldn't be, so. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. As usual, we had an interesting conversation about many topics. We did actually cover trains for a while, you know. I wish we did more on trains, but that's my fault probably. You know, maybe next week I'll have more to show and tell. I don't know. I hope so. But probably not. I don't know. We'll see. I'll have some stuff done. And I'm feeling a lot better now too. I've been under the weather for the last couple of weeks. Not real bad, but just to the point where I didn't want to do a whole lot. Anyway, guys, good to see y'all. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week. How am I feeling today? Not too bad. All right, guys, I'm going to put up the outro, and we'll see you. Ah, Pogo just yawned. That must be a sign.